Through you, AMCO President, I would like us to take our seats, Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, and delegated heads of different delegations. As we start with our agenda, or as we continue rather, in this segment with the presentation and consideration of the draft annotated agenda, considering the fact that the annotated agenda normally has a section where the executive committee has to take decisions. As I mentioned earlier, these decisions are taken as executive committee of the council. And it's important that we also understand and know which member states, these are the 15 member states that are in the executive committee. We just wanted to make sure that on this one, we are on the same page. And this is to emphasize the point that we made earlier on, that if there is need for a vote, then the list that you see on the screen are the members of the executive committee. So I would like to ask your indulgence, Chair, to allow us to display the names, or rather the names of the member states that are in the organ of the executive committee. Here they are listed in alphabetical order. So the first is Angola, and we have Angola present, as we said earlier on. Second, we have Benin, but I must admit also to say that Angola is the vice president of the Southern Africa region, and Benin is the vice president for the West Africa region. And in the Central Africa region, we have Congo Republic, and of course, as we can see, our host as the AMCO president, obviously no questions, discussion about that. We already know and are aware about that. Then we also have Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Kenya, Libya, Mauritania, Namibia, Nigeria, Sao Tome and Principe. As we understand, we don't have a delegated letter for Sao Tome and Principe. And then we have South Sudan, Sudan, and Zambia. These are the members of the executive committee who have the responsibility to take a vote. And of course, as we also had said earlier on, they have to form the quorum for this executive committee meeting to proceed. With this announcement, Your Excellency, the President of AMCO, allow me to yield this time and seek the indulgence of the AMCO TAG Chair to continue with the agenda item on presentation and consideration of the draft annotated agenda, which is going to be made by our distinguished AMCO TAG Chair, Dr. Tahani Salit. Over to you, AMCO TAG Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Nelson. Will we display the annotated agenda on the screen? No, the final one. This is track changed.
مش مشكلة ده مش هيبقى تراك تشينج هو بس الخط ده ولا ايه؟
نتمنى. In accordance with the rules of procedure of the Governing Council of AMCO, the 14th ordinary session on the Executive Committee, EXCO, of the Council was convened on 12th to 16th of October, and it comprised of two parts. One, the Technical Advisory Committee, TAC, session on 12-13 October 2024. Two, the ministerial session on 16-2024. The Executive Committee received and considered for guidance reports on work program, budget, and new initiatives as follows. One, the status of implementation of previous governing council and EXCO decisions. Number two, the program implementation report comprising of A, the 2023 AMCO activity report, Annex 1, project level details were similarly provided as follows. Roman 1, the 2023 annual report on ASPG in Action Program, Annex 1A, and Roman 2, the 2023 annual report on the program to strengthen water governance systems and management structures in Africa, Annex 1B. B, the progress report on the 2024 AMCA work plan, Annex 2, covering the 3 program components as follows. Roman 1, governance and political dialogue processes. A, outcome of the AMCA sub-regional ministerial committee meetings, technical expert committee meetings, annexes 2A and 2E. Outcome number B, outcomes of the 5th extraordinary session of the EXCO held on virtually on 7 May 2024 in particular decisions. I, EXEO/5/2024/Cairo/2 on the Africa regional consultations for engagements at the 10th World Water Forum, Annex 2F.
Sorry, I just want to make sure that what is presenting is the final version. So far, I didn't notice any change except the numbering. So I just want to make sure that what we see on the screen is the final version of annotated agenda.
Yes, I've noted that the 80 we picked a wrong file, so we just have to replace it with the right file.
This is not the right file, the final file.
Can we display on the screen the latest version, please?
Yes. Can you please play the version that has been sent to the TAC members via email?
Through you, AMCO President, we beg your pardon and allow us to pick the right file. Our apologies from the Secretariat that the file that we're displaying is not the final version. Apologies, and thank you, AMCO President, for making this observation. We are making amendments and changes.
So I think we can resume.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. My query is that we are referring and endorsing decisions that are taken by a ministerial meeting that is not subject to any AMCO provisions. It's the SADC ministers that met. So why do we have to endorse those decisions? They were taken by SADC. They will be reported by SADC to the AU. I am a little bit uncertain whether AMCO has a mandate to endorse or not to endorse a decision that was taken in a SADC meeting, or for that matter, in any regional ministerial meeting.
Which item you're referring to?
Which is not part of the AMCO's mandate to scrutinize decisions of regional ministerial meetings.
Which item Your Excellency is referring to?
It's the item that we are talking about. Sorry.
اجتماعات لكل اقليم لوحده. حضرتك فتحت هو مش عارفه بيتكلم عن دول ولا بيتكلم عن sub regional meetings.
It was referred to EXCO 14/24/CII/2, and 2.1 says, takes note and outcomes of the Sub-Regional Technical Experts Committee meeting and adopts Decision 36 and 42 Joint SADC Energy and Water Ministers meeting. AMCO has got no mandate to approve or reject a SADC committee's meeting.
Can again you tell us the number?
Where in this? In this screen.
Yeah, I don't have this thing before me. It's page 1, I'm told.
That's the first item, like is hosted by the vice chairs, which are reported
Mr. Chair, it's the first page.
the outcome of
The first page.
The first page, under Exco /14 /2024 /CAI /2. Under 2, the executive.
Oh.
Can we wait till we come to this point?
Oh, we are not there because I thought
No, we
it
are
is
not
that
there.
very,
No.
very same reference that we have.
No, this oh.
She's going to read the 29 pages, so I would prefer that you wait till she is.
But the principle stands. I'm not so sure whether we have a mandate to endorse or reject a SADC or an ECOWAS or a North African regional ministers meeting decision.
Some decisions are coming from the sub-region.
To AMCO? A SADC decision comes to AMCO for endorsement? No.
Annotated agenda documents.
Okay. Well, I'll raise it then there.
Merci beaucoup. Son commentaire porte sur la première page, just the first page. Je pense que ce qu'il essaye de dire, il faut monter plus haut. Vous pouvez afficher la première page. Just the first page of this document that you have distributed. In the beginning. First page and third paragraph, the last one.
Okay, Genevieve, we come to the first page, yes.
First page and the,
In the preamble.
yes.
Yes, thank you.
The third paragraph. Go back, down. Ce qu'il essaye de dire, c'est qu'il est écrit ici, le point 2, le 2.1, prend note des résultats, take notes of the outcomes from the sub-regional technical expert committees meetings and adopts. He's saying that we cannot adopt the work done by the other sub-regional committees. Perhaps for me, we can take notes of what they have done, but adopting what they did, the outcomes of their meeting, perhaps could be a problem for this AMCO meeting. This is, I think, what he wanted to raise, which is, in my view, true. Thank you.
Through you, Excellency, AMCO President, thank you, Excellency, Honorable Minister, for this observation. Just to probably add a little bit of context, that in this preamble, we're just setting maybe the background to where we are coming from. That also informed some of the decision. But related to this specific point, outcomes from the AMCO sub-regional ministerial committee meetings, these are just moments during the TAC sessions where we were also had the vice presidents of the TAC of AMCO making the reports of the sub-regional meetings that AMCO convened, which were hosted by the vice presidents themselves. So there is a particular report. We are not necessarily at this point discussing decisions, but we are just mentioning that this took place. So we are saying we presented a program implementation report comprising the progress reports on the 2024 AMCA work plan, covering 3 program components as follows. So under this one, under the governance and political dialogue processes, we also presented outcomes from the AMCA sub-regional ministerial committee meetings for the knowledge of other sub-regions of those outcomes. So it's not necessarily an item that constitutes a decision yet, but it was presented just for other member states to take note, and it's included in this item of the annotated agenda for the purpose of setting the context of some of the issues that will be presented. But at this stage, it was just to note that there were some submissions of the reports of the meetings that AMCAO convened. And it's not late, we are not yet at the time of adopting the decisions. I just wanted Excellency to make that clarification. But I'm also aware that other maybe distinguished honorable ministers, probably also from the vice chairs who made the presentations, can.
Let us, when we come to this point, if the decision is to approve, we change it to took note of. I think that would be the solution, or? No? It is. Okay. So, but I don't see how it's written later on.
Yeah,
Took
when
note
we
of?
arrive.
Not approve. Okay, then took note. So if it's take note already and you don't mind, then we leave it as it is. If it's approved, we change it to be take note of. Okay, agree? Can we proceed? Okay, but we stop at this point just to make sure that everyone in agreement on this specific point when we reach there.
It is fine, but in the document before me, here, it says takes note and adopts. So that adopts then goes away.
I think we are fine with this.
Yeah.
Okay, when we reach this, we change adopt or remove adopt.
And that's under the decisions.
Yeah, unless there is anyone else has comment. Okay, can we proceed?
Yes.
Thank you.
Number B, the progress report on the 2024 AMCAO work plan and work plan Annex 2, covering the 3 program components as follows. 1. Roman 1, governance and political dialogue processes. A, outcomes from the AMCAO sub-regional ministerial committee meetings / technical expert committee meetings. B, outcomes of the 5th extraordinary session of the EXCO held on virtually on 7 May 2024, in particular decisions. I, EO EXCO 5 2024 Cairo 2 on the Africa Regional Consultations for an engagement at the 10th World Water Forum, Annex 2F. 2, EO EXCO 5 2024 Cairo 5 on the petition against the Executive Secretary and the roadmap to handling it, Annex 2G. Roman 2, stakeholder engagement, mobilization and advocacy. A, outcomes of from the 5th session of the African Union Water and Sanitation Partner Coordination Platform and the Sanitation and Hygiene PCEP. B, outcomes from the 9th Africa Water Week and situation analysis, constituting the baseline for an Africa Water Vision and Policy Framework for assuring inclusive and climate-resilient water security on the continent. C, Africa Regional Mobilization and Support to the Republic of Senegal as co-convener of the UN 2026 Water Conference. D, hosting the 3rd African Implementation and Partnership Conference PANAFCON by the Republic of Zambia, Annex 2I. E, of Zambia. It's written Zambia. E, hosting.
No, this is, again, sorry,
Is there a mistake somewhere?
this is again not the file that you are reading.
And you have the same file? The file is the same as what she's reading? Not quite. Okay.
Yes, but she is reading E, and I don't even see E here.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a paragraph added, which is not in our version.
And change and paragraph, so I'm sorry, but this should not happen. I mean, we are having on the screen not the final version again.
What's that?
Who-
Final.
Whoever is projecting should get the right copy. You have an E, you don't have E's.
I think it.
One more item.
Dr. I think you have a wrong.
I have the wrong one?
Yeah.
Okay, I can follow from here then. ازاي يعني؟
مين هيجيب لك الفاينل فيرجن؟
معايا يا فندم. دي 3 سي.
مش عايزه افهم. Can we project again on the screen? ممكن نحط الملف على الشاشة؟ شكرا. اتفضل. ممكن نرجع الفايل على الشاشة لو سمحتوا؟ اتفضل. Okay. Please.
Yes, can we go lower? Yes. Again. Okay. Roman 4, the AMCO work plan and budget for the financial year. 3 نبتدي.
Monitoring and reporting.
Monitoring, Roman 3, monitoring and reporting. A, the 2024 annual report of the Commission of the implementation of the July 2008 Assembly Declaration on the Sharm el-Sheikh commitments for accelerating the achievement of water and sanitation goals in Africa, Assembly/AU/Declaration 1, 11, Annex 2I. Number 3, the Financial Management Report, Annex 3, comprising of I, Roman 1, the audit report on the financial statements for the year ended 31 December 2023, Annex 3A, Roman 2, the updated 2024 AMCA work plan and budget and the financial progress report for 2024, Annex 3B. Roman 3, request for no objection, Annex 3C, and Roman 4, the AMCA work plan and budget for the financial year 2025, Annex 3D. Namibia,
Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under Roman 3, we say request for no objection. Against what?
For the report,
Financial management report.
for the report.
The financial management report, the main item.
Should we approve it instead of saying we have no objection? Yeah, we must approve it. If that is it, but if it is the report, we approve it. And it has nothing to do.
In the agenda, they will clarify it, at least to be clear, as an agenda point.
Yeah, no, I will corner them down.
I don't see a problem.
Through you, AMCA President, thank you for the opportunity that maybe I can provide clarification. So what I was saying earlier on, and at this particular stage, we are just looking at the preamble And this preamble sets the stage and it sets, let's say, the summary of the things that are to be discussed and decisions to be made. So it's just the main highlights of the items that constitute the decisions. So at this stage, it's just the preamble and outlining some of the issues that are to be discussed and also decisions to be made. And in this particular case, we can say that after reading probably this preamble, I would seek the indulgence of your Excellency to probably move to the section of the decision of the matters that are arising after looking at this. This is more or less like the one would say, yeah, preamble or a table of contents of some sort.
Honorable Chair, I raised the issue because in the previous text that is before me, it says requests for no objection to secure a building for the Secretariat. So it has nothing to do with the report. And if Annexa C refers to the report, that is one thing. If Annexa C refers to the acquisition of a building, that's a completely different story. And I would have an issue with just giving a no objection for the acquisition of a building if it is not properly explained and the method of acquiring that is not explained.
Can we see Annex 3C?
We will read all of them.
Okay.
We will have to read the 29 pages.
Okay.
So if you have comment, it's going to come anyway. This is just a list of content.
Yes, so probably through you, AMCO President, allow me to probably maybe project the way this document is structured so that we know where where we are and where the issues are. And I would seek the indulgence of my colleagues in the Secretariat to display the components or rather the parts of this particular document. So can you bring back the screen, please?
نرجع يا جماعة الشاشة وما نشيلهاش لو سمحتوا. Please.
Thank you, President. I just wanted to clarify to help the acting ears in the moment. Honorable Carl, I think this is like a content of what we are going to discuss. All what has been read up to 3 is all what we are going to go by details. So each item will be brought, then there will be a narrative to the left, then there will be some explanation, and then decision. This is where now we will have the subject matter. So that is a clarification from the text up here. So we'll go to the detail afterwards.
Honorable Chair, I understand that. But what I don't understand is that we have different texts and that there is a possibility that what we read here in the summary is not actually what the paragraph is then discussing. Because it can now be the report or its approval or the acquisition of a house or a building. So I think my request to the Secretariat is if you have this type of reporting, you must be consequent and you must refer to the same article and the topic in both cases, in the text itself and in the summary, which appears not to be the case.
Yeah. Point taken.
Thank you. Through you, AMCO President. This is well noted, and we will definitely ensure that in the next meetings we implement this recommendation. Okay, so probably this is where Your Excellency, AMCO President, you can maybe allow us just to share how the elements that we have captured there are also broken down into details as we mentioned earlier on in the actual section of the matters for consideration of decisions. And the reading of the AMCO TAC chair here is the reading of all the matters that were discussed, and then also the areas that are proposed for decisions. So the item 2, the item 1 here, after the preamble, talks about the attendance. Then the item 2 outlines the agenda, and here it outlines the agenda of both the technical advisory committee sessions as well as the executive committee's session. So Genevieve, our IT, can you please just scroll up? That's the, so we have item 1, item 2, and now we move on to continue. So after the agenda, continue please, just continue. After the agenda of the TAC, and then we come to item number 3, where we now look at the status of implementation of decisions of the Governing Council and EXCO. There is a requirement for the Secretariat to report back to the EXCO on the progress made in the implementation of the decisions. And here, we just present the progress that has been made in the implementation of the decisions of the Governing Council and also of the Executive Committee. And we have the decision that the Governing Council has already taken before in previous meetings, or the Executive Committee took, and the implementation or status of the implementation of those decisions. This section is item 3, looking at the status of implementation of decisions of the Governing Council, as I said. Then we now move to item number 4. If you can slide up, all these are just reports on what we have done in the implementation of the decision taken previously. Then we come to item number 4. Item number 4 is where we have matters presented for the consideration and decision-making by this Executive Committee ordinary session, the 14th ordinary session. And in this table, the purpose is to table matters requiring urgent attention of the Executive Committee of AMCAO for consideration and decision. Now here we have agenda item on the left, as you can see, then the discussion related to that agenda item to provide context and background, and the proposed decision for the EXCO to take related to that agenda item based on the discussion that has been made. This is the way this document is structured. So where we have to discuss and look at decisions is on the right, based on the proposed decisions for the consideration of the Executive Committee of the Council. Excellency AMCAO President, I wanted to submit for your consideration, and we would yield probably at this stage to AMCAO TAC Chair to continue with the reading under your guidance, AMCAO President.
Excuse me, why are we scrolling up again? We will start by item 3. Yes? Put it in the middle, please. No, 3 فوق, status. Item 3, status of implementation of decisions of the Governing Council and EXCO. Decision 1, EXCO 13-2022, Windhoek 10, on resource mobilization and financial sustainability. The Council is invited to note that since 13th ordinary session of the Governing Council in June 2023, the Secretariat has successfully negotiated and/or signed funding agreements for the equivalent of $5.6 million. This is the result of engagement with existing and new funding partners, as well as prudent fiscal management of the Africa Sand Conference, which is one of AMCAO's flagship stakeholder engagement platforms. The resource mobilization activities and related efforts to achieve financial sustainability were as follows. Roman 1, 2.6 million euro in a funding agreement with the European Union and the German Federal Ministry of Economic Development and Cooperation, BMZ, through GIZ for the continental window the Blue Africa Action of the Team Europe Initiative on Transboundary Water Management, TEI-TWM. The initial offer of 2.3 million was negotiated upwards to a 2.6 million agreement. A grant agreement of $1 million concluded with the Global Environmental Facility, GEF, through the International Water Management Institute and the Food and Agriculture Organization. Similarly, the initial offer of $0.65 million was negotiated upwards into a $1 million agreement. A grant of $248,050 from the New Venture Fund towards 7th edition of the Africa Sanitation Conference in November 2023. $330,000 in net revenue from the Africa San Conference successfully convened with the generosity and benevolence of our host, the people of the Government of Republic of Namibia, in November 2023 in Swakopmund, Namibia. Roman 5, a contribution of $83,000 from the African Development, US from the African Development Bank through the Africa Water Facility as contribution to AMCO's engagement at the 10th World Water Forum and the 9th Africa Water Week. Roman 6, additional funding support of $0.5 million from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation over and above the current investment of $3.68 million signed in October 2022. B, as a result of entire budget for fiscal year 2025 of $4.51 million is already secured, in addition to which nearly $2 million will be available as catalytic funding for 2026 and beyond. There is no proposed decision. Can you go left, please?
Right. Please. Your Excellency.
Okay, sorry, Mr. President, but I just want to have some certainty here. So there's no decision?
No.
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 This is a
Just reporting
progress.
Just a reporting.
of the previous decisions.
Okay, because what I wanted to know is in the first paragraph, it says that the Council is invited to note that since the 13th ordinary session of the Governing Council in June, the Secretary has successfully negotiated and/or signed. Now, what is it? Have you signed or have you only negotiated? And if you have signed, would it not be better if you inform the Council about the conditions that were attached to the financial commitment that these development partners have given to us?
Thank you, Excellency, through you, AMCO President. Just to clarify that this point relates to the fact that we make proposals and negotiate with different development partners as listed down. And the language of negotiated and signed is because at the time of maybe the offer, some of the development partners could have been offering maybe a certain amount. So we had to negotiate in that case. And after the process of negotiation, which we are trying to also take into account in this reporting, is also to mention about the signed. But we have taken note of your point in the sense that in some cases, some of the development partners, we are still probably discussing or negotiating, so we didn't want to maybe lose that fact. But maybe through you, AMCO President, we could improve this to reflect the, without necessarily having and or, so that maybe we are just clear to say negotiated and signed funding agreements. Your Excellency, we may seek your indulgence to understand if that can help to improve this presentation.
Now that would help, but I must just be straight with you. I want to know for sure that there are now liabilities that we are accepting as government, because these agreements are binding. And if there are conditions that implies that we have any liability as states, then of course we need to be informed about that, and we need to inform the Secretariat whether that is acceptable or not. I don't believe the Secretariat has the power to bind states in agreements that have liabilities towards sovereigns. So I need to have that surety, and I can't find it in the text.
No. No.
But I think there is a governance issue here. I mean, if the Secretariat is not mandated to review agreements, then they should be presented to the tax. Because I think the tax are the ones to review the agreement and to check the details and the binding commitments that are indicated in it. And this was one of the comments that we discussed before about the governance structure and how the governance structure is allowing the tax to be the ones responsible for reviewing such documents or not. And I have to say that the governance of the AMCAO needs a serious revision, because it's a ministerial organization and it has to be ministerial and not secretariat oriented. So this is one of the main issues that should be considered when we review the governance structure, that the power should stay in the hands of the ministers. So I just giving this forward to the tax when they continue the discussion about the governance. I would like to hear what happened in the discussion of the governance in the previous couple of days, but also for future discussions about enhancing the governance, that the organizations should be more and more ministerial oriented
Member states oriented.
and member states oriented and not really secretariat oriented. I would propose that we phrase a decision here that the tax to review the governance in order to for such specific issues and give the final decision on the agreement after reviewing that, after being reviewed by the TAC to the EXCO. Yes. So the tax, they review any agreement that's already negotiated from the Secretariat, and once they say it's fine and the member states are committed to this or that or not committed, and then present it to the EXCO and the EXCO approve it. So just want the power to stay in the hands of the ministers as a representative of the member states. Because you have a very valid point that in this case, the Secretariat is going to negotiate and agree and sign without us knowing what is the content of the agreement. Can we make a decision like this?
Mr. President, yes, I would support that. I would subject all these contracts or these agreements to a referral back to the TAC, and then a recommendation specifically to the EXCO, whether it is an extraordinary meeting or so, to look at it. And the issue that is lingering in my mind is, if we accept a grant, just for argument's sake, the development partner or donor has a legitimate ground to request repayment of the grant in case of misuse of that money. And who is the liable party in that instance? Is it member states, which I assume it is? And if it is, then it is only the Ministers' Council that can approve those things. That's why I wanted the conditions of these agreements be tabled so that we know for sure what is going on.
I
And
totally
I agree with that.
I totally
proposal.
agree with you, but I'm not sure, I'm personally not sure whether the governance structure as it is now support this idea.
Doesn't. For now, no.
Maybe the governance as it is now give this power to the secretariat. That's why I'm saying the governance itself needs to be reviewed in order to add this, that the secretariat itself cannot sign any agreement without presenting it to the TAC, being reviewed, presented to the EXCO, approved from the EXCO, then it can be signed. Do we agree on this? Please.
Mr. President, yes, I think I fully agree. We must review the governance structures. But AMCO is a hierarchical body with the highest authority in the Council that reports to the AU Commission. And the AU Commission then takes the report on. Now I still haven't got a clear answer, and I'm sure the review will show that. Where is the liability in case of a non that where is it? Is it then with the AU? Is it with the Commission? Is it with member states? Is AMCO a statutory body that is autonomous, that is a legal entity that can be sued and can sue? So I think those things are crucial in any governance structure.
I don't have an answer, and I'm not sure whether my colleagues here on the table have an answer, because even this happened in the previous period. It's not even under the Egyptian presidency, but it's still valid point that we have to discuss. I don't have a direct answer to this point now because I'm not memorizing the entire governance. But all what we can do now is to take action today and make a decision today, is to review the governance to this specific point, who is reliable, who is the approving the agreements before being signed. This review should be done by the tax and then presented to us to approve a new governance that allow us to review any agreement in the Ministerial Council or in the EXCO before being signed. Okay. Please, Your Excellency.
I believe that if we put a clear roadmap that governance to be, I agree with Dr. Salim, that governance to be reviewed by tax and to endorse this to the ministerial level and to be approved. Should be clear that the governance to present this to the tax, and the tax will review it and put it to the ministerial level that to be approved. It will be much better because this will be well controlled.
I think we have a chance because there is a TOR that was already prepared by the tax for the consultant who is going to review the governance. We just need to agree with the consultant when we communicate to agree the governance, not only for the transparency and the credibility, but also for the decision-making process, and give the power of any signature or any commitment for the AMCO to the EXCO. Can we agree on this? Just to be added, not to the TOR, because the TOR is already approved. When we communicate with the consultant, we review the governance in terms of decision-making process, that we make sure that it's ministerial council and the EXCO is the only entity that can approve any agreement before being signed. maybe we add this to the terms of reference so that we don't have a discussion on the issue again. We edit the terms of reference to add this review of the decision-making process to put the power of signing any agreement or any commitment in the hands of the EXCO. The way you formulate it, of course, we will leave it for you now. If we agree on this, we put it as a decision. Any objection? Okay, agreed, and we make a decision on this issue. Can we continue, please?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Agenda item number 2, General Assembly 13, 2023 in Cairo/1 on submission of the 2022 annual report of the Commission on the implementation of the July 2008 Assembly Declaration on the Sharm el-Sheikh commitments for accelerating achievement on water and sanitation goals in Africa, Assembly AU Declaration 1, number 11. A, the Council is invited to note that the 2022 report on the Commission on the implementation of July 2008 Sharm el-Sheikh Declaration was submitted as part of AMCO's input to the 5th Ordinary Session of the African Union Specialized Technical Committee on Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy, Water and Environment, STC, on Arbui, held in November 2023 in Addis Ababa. The 5th Ordinary Session of the STC on Arbui endorsed, among others, the appeal of the Council to the Assembly of the African Union to adopt water and sanitation as the theme of the Union in 2026. C, the full report of the STC on Ardui was able for the consideration of the Executive Council during the 44th Ordinary Session held on 14 and 15 February 2024. The relevant decisions of the Executive Council are as follows. A, endorsed for submission to the AU in February 2024 the following documents. Double I, what is the first I? The 2022 annual report of the Commission on the July 2008 Assembly Declaration regarding the Sharm el-Sheikh commitments for accelerating the achievement of water and sanitation goals in Africa as per Assembly Decision, Assembly AU Declaration 111. The Swakopmund Declaration on Accelerated Action for Inclusive, Sustainable, Resilient, and Safely Managed Sanitation and Hygiene Services Delivery in Africa further considers and adopts the following reports. The 2023 report on the implementation of the 2015 Ngor Declaration urges the AUC to develop an African water policy that provides a strategic framework towards inclusive and climate-resilient water security in the continent, and AMCO to further strengthen the Partner Coordination Platform, PCP. Urges all African Union member states to develop national climate-resilient water investment programs and in developing programs to access climate finance for climate-resilient and inclusive water security programs. Approves the proposal to adopt assuring sustainable water availability and safe sanitation systems to achieve the goals of Agenda 2063 as the Africa Union theme for the year 2026. No, there is no decision yet.
Any comment? We have no decision here, but any comment on this part?
Mr. President, I'm just intrigued by the fact that in 2024 we report back on a decision that was taken in 2008. Doesn't it take a little bit long to report on these things? In any case, it's just mentioning that that the Executive Council of the AU has accepted the report. So it's not our business anymore. We are just informed that that has happened.
Yes, I think it's for information, if I understood. No?
Listed under decision, okay.
No, we have no
The
decisions.
decisions
It's all
of
right.
the African
That would-
Union Commissions, Your Excellency, on the STC.
It's all right. I just ask, you know, we are AMCO. We are the reporting people to the Commission and the Executive. Now, why do we inform ourselves that we have done that? We have taken the decision that we are going there, so we did that. So now to put it in our annual report that we have done it in the last year, I think is pretty meaningless.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Your Excellency. It is to report that because within this period, the STC on Ardwi has been held in Addis Ababa. So the decision to accept was there. So when we report the progress, we report the acceptance of these reports by the African Union. It is just for information on the progress side. Thank you, Your Excellency. I submit.
Okay, thank you. If acceptable, please proceed.
3, General Assembly, 13/2023, Cairo 2, on submission of the 2023 report on the implementation of the Ngor Declaration on Sanitation and Hygiene. A, the Council is invited to note that the 2023 report on the implementation of the 2015 Ngor Declaration was submitted as part of AMCO's inputs to the 5th Ordinary Session of the African Union Specialized Technical Committee on Agriculture, Rural Development and Environment, held in November 2023 in Addis Ababa. Africa Sen 7, the 2023 report on the implementation of the Ngor Declaration was disseminated at various regional events, including Africa Sen 7 conference held in November 2023 in Swakopmund. The report also provided the framework for sub-themes, discussions, and outcomes of the Africa Sen 7 conference. The Executive Council, during the 44th Ordinary Session held on 14 and 15 February 2024, under decision XCL Declaration 2, 14, Rev 1/33, adopted the 2023 report on the implementation of the 2015 Ngor Declaration.
Any comment? 4.
On progress on the utilization of the Africa Sanitation Policy Guidelines, ASPG, and implementation of the ASPG's in Action Program. A, the Council is invited to note that the Secretariat is working with partners, including UNICEF, WaterAid, African Population and Health Research Center, the African Network of Civil Society Organization, ANU, Speak Up Africa, to provide support to member states. B, the progress on implementing the ASPG in action programs is as follows. 1, Republic of Ethiopia, Republic of Kenya, Republic of Niger, Republic of Rwanda, and Republic of Sierra Leone, Republic of Zimbabwe have developed sanitation and hygiene-related policy documents. Roman 2, Republic of Burkina Faso, Republic of the Cameroon, Republic of Ghana, Republic of Guinea-Bissau, Republic of Malawi, Republic of Mozambique, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Republic of Uganda are in the process of using the ASPG to strengthen sanitation and hygiene-related policies. Roman 3, Republic of Botswana, Democratic Republic of Congo, Republic of Liberia, Republic of South Sudan, Republic of Sudan, United Republic of Tanzania have requested for AMCO support for policy reform. C, convened ASPG Partner Coordination Engagement Platform meetings which provided an opportunity to discuss and agree on institutionalizing a monitoring and reporting framework to track ASPG utilization. D, further, the Council is invited to note that the consultant has been engaged to reconcile the Africa Sanitation Policy Assessment Tool, ASPAT, and Policy Monitoring and Assessment Tool into one comprehensive tool for conducting situation assessments of the sanitation and hygiene policy environment. The reconciliation of ASPAT and PMAT aims to streamline sanitation and hygiene policy assessments, enhancing decision-making and policy effectiveness across Africa.
Any comment? Please.
Well, President, this time no complaint, just information that under one, I think our name was there, that is Namibia. Namibia has a policy and a strategy, and it was reported like that, but we are not listed. So maybe be included.
Can we add Namibia in number 1, B1? Any other comment? Next.
Next, please, on the left. Okay. General Assembly 13, 2023, Cairo 4, on hosting the Africa San 7 conference. The Council is invited to note that the Africa San 7 conference was convened on 6 to 11 November 2023 in Swakopmund, the Republic of Namibia. A ministerial session was hosted and presided over by the Honorable Minister for Agriculture, Water and Land Reform of the Republic of Namibia, where over 25 ministers and heads of delegations responsible for water, sanitation, hygiene, and related affairs in Africa attended. The main outcome of the Africa San 7 was the Swakopmund Declaration on Accelerated Action for Inclusive, Sustainable, Resilient, and Safely Managed Sanitation and Hygiene Services Delivery in Africa. The declaration aims to revitalize the pursuit of the targets of the Inward Declaration through motivating action on existing political commitments on water, sanitation, and hygiene services delivery. Number D, the Swakopmund Declaration was endorsed by the Executive Council of the African Union during the 44th Ordinary Session in February 2024.
Yeah. In addition to appreciating the hosting of the San Africa 7, and thanks very much to the Namibian government and the Namibian minister for this very interesting and very successful event. We all enjoyed it, so maybe a round of applause to Namibia for that. Thank you. Any comment on number 5? Oh, Namibia itself has a...
Well, Comrade President, I think it is proper to also thank all the members for their tremendous support for that sanitation process. It was just after COVID, so it was really a difficult time, and I believe it is a sign that sanitation will be taken serious. I want to take this opportunity to thank the members of AMCO, but of the AU for their tremendous support. A small thing, I don't know what over 25 ministers means. Is it 27 or is it 30 or is it 25 and a half, you know?
You're the one who counted.
Through you, AMCO President, just to say that in this we are reporting back to you, but we have also included heads of delegation responsible for water and sanitation affairs. So those that we know, we were communicated. So apart from the ministers that attended and those that were also delegated to attend the ministerial session, that's what we are reporting. And this is based on the Africa San report that we published at the end of the conference. Thank you so much again, and through you, Excellency, I submit.
So it's over 25. Okay. Any other comment? Thank you. We move to number 6.
pardon. General Assembly 13/2023, Cairo 5, on the 2022 Annual External Audit Report and Financial Progress Report from January 2023 to March 2023. The key recommendations from the 2022 external audit was on the huge outstanding member states' contributions arrears, where the auditor advised the Secretariat to devise strategies to ensure prompt collection of member states' annual contribution. The Council is invited to note that during the financial year ended 31 December 2023, the Secretariat actively engaged member states through courtesy call visits, and that the call for member states to clear their contribution arrears to AMCAO was top on the agenda in these engagements. A total of 24 member states are either up to date with their contributions or in arrears of not more than $60,000. This is up from 22 member states that had achieved this status last year, 2022.
I think the text needs some edits at this point.
Last year?
Yeah, last year.
2023.
Last year, 2023, but any other comment here?
Mr. President, if I might suggest that in the text we report how many members are up to date and how many members are not. And that can be then disaggregated in what the amount of arrears are. But I think the distinguishing thing is how many are up to date and how many are not.
It will come later, Your Excellency.
Any other comment? If it's not coming later, we go back and update it, change this. Okay, next point.
Number 7, GA 13/2023, Cairo 6, on the AMCAO work plan and budget for the fiscal year 2023. The Council is invited to note that during the financial year ending 31st December 2023, the Secretariat actively engaged both current and prospective development partners for possible funding opportunities. Various funding proposals were submitted during the last half of the fiscal year 2023 and the first half of 2024. The following submissions were made. Roman 1, Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, SIDA, on institutional strengthening and support, US $4 million over 4 years from fiscal year 2024. The European Union and the German Federal Ministry of Economic Development and Cooperation, BMZ, Team Europe Initiative on Transboundary Water Management, the Blue Africa Action, €2.3 million over 3 years, starting from fiscal year 2024. The Global Environmental Facility, GEF, through Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, and International Water Management Institute, IMI, $650,000 over 4 years, starting fiscal year 2024. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, BMGF, support towards the post-2025 Africa Water Vision dialogue processes, $500,000 over 15 months, starting from fiscal year 2024. African Development Bank, through Africa Water Facility support on the 10th World Water Forum and 9th Africa Water Week, with $83,500. B, as of 13th August 2024, 4 out of the 5 proposals outlined in A above were successfully concluded and contracts signed off by the respective development partners.
Comments here?
President, I just assume that this decision is also subject to our earlier decision that
Yes.
it will be referred back to
Definitely.
us to scrutinize. Thank you.
As I said, I think the TOR and the hired consultant to review, I'm stressing on this issue, to review the governance, should review the governance in very detailed and very carefully to give the power of making any significant decision to the EXCO and to be reviewed by the TAC members, raised to the EXCO to make the final decision. Agreement, decision funding, and all of these types of decisions to be in the hands of the ministers. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Can I continue?
Yes, please.
Thank you. General Assembly 13, 2023, Cairo 7, on the presentation of the AMCAO strategy for youth and gender inclusion, YUGI, in Africa's water and sanitation sector. A, the Council is invited to note that the Secretariat, in partnership with the African Population and Health Research Center and the African Renaissance Trust, developed a draft youth and gender inclusion toolkit. The draft YUGI toolkit was disseminated to all member states during the sub-regional meetings for their input. The YOGI strategy was also launched at the 10th World Water Forum in Bali, Indonesia, during the youth and gender session. The YOGI toolkit was further presented to the international water community for input and create awareness and to sensitize other stakeholders and global levels. C, jointly with the Department of Water and Sanitation of the Republic of South Africa, an inaugural Technical Expert Committee TEC meeting was convened on 25-26 July on the margins of the National Youth in Indaba in Polokwane, Limpopo province. The main purpose of the meeting was to develop a draft youth and gender action plan to facilitate the implementation of the YOGI strategy and related goals for the next 2 years. The meeting helped achieve the following. 1. Finalize the terms of reference for the Youth and Gender Inclusion Technical Expert Committee. 2. Received final feedback from partners and member states to finalize the YOGI toolkit. 3. Design and implementation action framework from the YOGI strategy that includes the activities for partners. Number 4, streamline the proposed YOGI priority areas that will inform or feed into the development of the post-2025 Africa Water Vision. 5, initiated steps to institutionalize the AMCAO YOGI coordination mechanism. I submit, Your Excellency.
Comments in number 8? No? Next, number 9.
The report on AMCAO engagement on the UN 2023 Water Conference. The Council is invited to note that the recommendations of the reports launched on the UN 2023 Water Conference help to inform the priorities and key messages outlined in the Africa Regional Position Paper prepared for the 10th World Water Forum.
Comments? Next, number 10.
EXCO 13, 2022, Windhoek 12, on progress in the implementation of AMCAO's knowledge management and information sharing program. The Council is invited to note that an upgrade of the Knowledge Hub was started with an improved user interface and cataloging with support from the National Library of Nigeria as a sector database for facilitating information sharing and networking, collaboration and private sector engagement. Other updates include homepage, architecture, platform, and user experience enhancement. B, the upgrade improves the capacity of the Knowledge Hub to accommodate different forms of information and knowledge resources identified by the AMCAO Knowledge Management Survey conducted in 2022. C, the Council is further invited to note that the knowledge management audit was launched to help gauge the knowledge management status of all member states and determine the kind of support required to deliver adequate knowledge creation and exchange. D, 11 countries have completed and submitted their knowledge management audit questionnaires: Republic of Botswana, Arab Republic of Egypt, Republic of Mali, Republic of Mauritius, Republic of Namibia, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Republic of Rwanda, Republic of Senegal, Republic of Sierra Leone, Republic of South Africa, and the Republic of South Sudan. E, as part of the knowledge brokerage, the Secretariat and the Knowledge Management of the Department of Water and Sanitation, Republic of South Africa, co-organize a webinar to disseminate and validate South Africa's recently developed eutrophication strategy. A total of 201 water professionals attended the event with experiences shared by 3 speakers from the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Republic of Botswana, and the Republic of South Africa. F, a second edition of the Africa's Voice on Water AVO magazine was produced and shared during the 10th World Water Forum. The edition published 36 stories from across 16 member states, regional institutions, civil society organizations, development partners, and academia. I submit, Your Excellency.
Any comment? Okay, so we move to the next item.
Item number 4, matters presented for the consideration and decision-making by the 14th Ordinary Session of the Executive Committee of AMCAO. Agenda item number 1, AMCAO program implementation. 1.1, submission of the 2023 AMCAO Annual Activity Report. A, the 2023 Annual Activity Report provides progress on implementing Council decisions on the AMCAO work plan and budget for the fiscal year 2023. In line with decision EXCO 13-2022 Windhoek 8 on AMCAO's 3-year work program and budget, AMCAO activities are grouped into 4 programmatic areas, namely governance and political dialogue processes, stakeholder engagement, mobilization and advocacy for national level domestication of continental policy initiatives, knowledge brokerage, monitoring and reporting, and program management. C, the results from the implementing of the work plan and budget for fiscal year 2023 were delivered by the Secretariat with the support from various partners through 2 ongoing programs, namely 1, the program to strengthen water governance systems and management structures in Africa, with funding support from the U.S. State Department through USAID and the Kingdom of Sweden through SIDA. The ASPG in Action Program with a grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, BMGF. Additionally, attainment of results was contributed to by 1, the African Development Bank through the African Water Facility with funding support towards stakeholder engagement, mobilization, and advocacy. 2, monitoring and reporting, and Roman 2, the new venture fund towards stakeholder engagement, mobilization, and advocacy. E, the key achievements recorded for fiscal year 2023 in each of the programmatic areas are summarized as follows. Roman 1, governance and political dialogue processes. A, adoption by the African Union of the Sukapun Declaration on Accelerated Action of Inclusive, Sustainable and Resilient Sanitation and Hygiene Services Delivery, highlighting the collective resolve to ensure that no one is left behind in or pursuit of safely managed sanitation for all. The Secretariat carried out 4 sub-regional technical advisory and technical experts committee meetings in collaboration with the regional economic communities and the rivers and lake basin organizations. These included sub-regional meetings for Central in collaboration with ECAS, East Africa region in collaboration with IGAD, EAC, South Africa with SADC, and West Africa region in collaboration with ECOWAS. C, take note of the adoption of the Kampala Declaration on Transboundary Water Resources Management in Africa by the river and lake basin organizations and regional economic communities, at the first high-level stakeholder engagement on transboundary water resources management held from 23 to 26 May in Kampala, Republic of Uganda. The declaration sets out, among other decisions, to revitalize efforts to achieve the relevant targets on transboundary water cooperation of the Africa Water Vision 2025. Implementation of the Africa Water Resources Priority Action Plan 2016 to 2025, the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, and the African Union Agenda 2063. Roman 2, stakeholder engagement, mobilization, and advocacy. A African Union Water and Sanitation Sector Partners Coordination Platform was held from 2 to 3, 2023, October, something's wrong here, from 2nd to 3rd October, so we removed the 2023, October 2023 in Addis Ababa. B, bilateral discussions involving water ministers from Republic of Burkina Faso, Arab Republic of Egypt, Kingdom of Eswatini, Republic of Ghana, Republic of Gambia, Republic of Madagascar, Republic of Uganda, as well as deputy ministers in charge of climate from the Kingdom of Sweden, was conducted with the following outcomes. I, commitment was made to support a theme on water and sanitation at African Union Commission. 2, agreement to align national water policies more closely with regional and continental frameworks, promoting harmonization and effective management of water resources. 3, a consensus on contributing insights, strategies, and recommendations for shaping the post-2025 Africa Water Vision. C, organized the 7th edition of Africa Sanitation and Hygiene Conference, Africa San 7, on the 6th to 11th of November 2023 in Swakopmund, Republic of Namibia. D, AMCA was elected to serve on the boards of governors of the World Water Council for the period of 2023-2025. 3, knowledge brokerage. A new continental magazine, Africa Voice on Water Avo, was launched. B, AMCA statutory document, namely the governance framework, updated in Volume 1, the finance regulation and rules, and the staff regulations and rules were designed, developed, and printed. 4, monitoring and reporting. The 2022 report on the Commission of the Implementation of July 2008 Sharm el-Sheikh Declaration was launched by water sector leaders in March 2023 during the UN conference in New York, United States of America. WASMO, operational and institutional linkage, strengthened with regional economic committees, RECs, to support data collection to produce subsequent editions of the WASMO report. C, member states' needs assessment conducted in Republic of Cameroon, Islamic Republic of Mauritania, Republic of Madagascar, Republic of Senegal, Republic of Sao Tome and Principe, and the United Republic of Tanzania. 5, program management. A, procurement of a solar backup power system completed. B, procurement of CCTV, security system, and biometric card access laptops and other offices accessories completed. C, AMCA Zoom licenses were made to facilitate improved virtual conferencing and meetings. F, attainment of the results was not without challenges. The fundamental lessons learned were: 1, wider engagement of member states, RECs, and the river and lake basin organizations will improve the quality of information in the next edition of Africa Water Atlas. 2, the initiative of integrating partners' knowledge resources into AMCA Knowledge Hub was a time-taking endeavor, as not all partners' knowledge resources have APIs documentation. Therefore, ample time must be invested in developing an API for partners' relevant knowledge portals/resources. 3, ECOWAS pledged financial support to member states for data collection. However, the processes leading to access to the funds was challenging. This didn't allow member states to benefit from the financial resources allocated for this assignment. G, preparation of the work plan and budget for fiscal year 2025 has thus benefited from the lessons learned and it is driven by the ambition to fully achieve the targets of the triennial work program. In turn, this will contribute to realizing the goals of the AMCAO strategy 2018-2030. H, the 2023 annual activity report is presented in Annex 1. Project level details are provided as follows. Annex 1A, the 2023 annual report on ASPG in Action Program. 1B, 2023 annual report of the program to strengthen the water governance systems and management structures in Africa. Now, I submit, sir, and we go to the proposed decisions.
Okay, proposed decisions. Any comment so far? Let us discuss.
1, the Executive Committee, 1.1, takes note of the 2023 AMCAO Annual Activity Report. 1.2, acknowledges funding partners' support for from African Development Bank, New Venture Fund, BMGF, USAID, and SIDA towards the AMCAO work program. 1.3, further acknowledges implementing and technical partners, including the Africa Population and Health Research Center, Africa Civil Society Network on Water, IRC, WaterAid, Water for People, Global Water Partnership, UNICEF, UN Water, and other UN agencies for their contributions toward the AMCAO work plan. 1.4, task the Secretariat to continue engaging existing and new implementing and technical partners toward the implementation of AMCAO work plan. I submit, Your Excellency.
Comments? Please.
Mr. Chairman, I thank for the thorough report. I think it's very informative. Just two small things. I read in the program implementation that the financial regulations and the governance procedures and the staff reports are still not yet approved, so they were developed. They are now printed, so maybe that can be the document that is going to be reviewed. So we are in a fortunate position that we have a document already developed that can now be reviewed. We don't have to start from scratch. That's the first point, and it is under, the numbering is very complicated here. Roman 2, no, sorry, knowledge brokerage. AMCO statutory documents, namely governance framework, updated volume 1, finance regulations and rules, and staff regulations and rules were designed, developed, and printed. So they are now subject to review. Because of our earlier decision, I take it.
Thank you,
Yes.
Your Excellency. If you allow me, these documents have been reviewed and adopted in Swakopmund, in the Exco held in Swakopmund. Now, what we are facing are new things that we need to impose or to integrate in the governance framework. And I believe that this government framework is ours and we can progress on it, and it's a living document that we can ameliorate the moment that we find that it doesn't respond exactly to all the challenges that we are facing. Yes, so even if it was approved, why not to reopen it again, progress on it, and approve it again, And this is the evolution of things. Thank you, Your Excellency, I submit.
Okay, take note of this comment. Any other comment here? Okay, next please. Yeah, there is another comment from South Sudan.
Thank you, Chair. Since the AMCA rule and regulations were developed some years back, and it was supposed to be reviewed every 3 years or 5 years, I think it is overdue. They could be reviewed, but it will need a decision to be taken by the Council, for it to be taken up as a suggested decision to be to direct the Secretariat to review the AMCA rules and regulations. Thank you. I submit.
Yeah, there is a decision coming for hiring a consultant to review the governance and continue the investigation that were decided in the previous EXCO. So I would recommend, in order not to mix up, when we come to this decision, we say that the tax are instructed to edit and add some roles in the TOR for the consultant to review the governance structure, to give the power of making decisions of any agreement and to the EXCO. Because there it's coming anyway, the TOR and the TAC to hire the consultant, so we can integrate it in. If you agree, we can proceed based on that. South Sudan, is it okay for you? Excellency.
It's okay, I agree, because this will improve the process itself. Will improve this. I agree, because this will improve the process and will put everything quite clear on the table, and after that we can. This is a lesson learned from what have been done in the past. And after that.
Okay. If there is no any other comment, we can proceed to the next. Please.
Mr. President, I just looked at my watch. It's 6 o'clock, and we have got a number of pages to go through. If we read every outcome, would it not be feasible if we just go to the decisions, and if we have questions on the decisions, we can go back to the outcome?
I'm happy that you are the one who have the most comments, is trying to simplify the process. Thank you very much. My friend, thank you. So we go to the decisions. If no objection about this, otherwise we are going to bring our bids here in the room. Okay.
Thank you very much, Ms. AMCAO President. Outcomes of the AMCAO Sub-Regional Ministerial Committee meetings / Technical Expert Committee meetings. So we go directly to the decisions. The Executive Committee takes note, 2.1, takes note.
Sorry. Forgot. So the previous decision is adopted under item number 1. Okay?
Oh. Please take this home when you go. Don't leave it. صلاحيات ولا
Okay.
The Executive Committee 2.1 takes note of the outcomes from the Sub-Regional Technical Experts Committee meetings and adopts 2.1.1 Decision 36 of the 42nd Joint SADC Energy and Water Ministers meeting. 2.1.2 Resolution 12 of the 5th Ordinary Session of the ECOWAS Ministerial Monitoring Committee on Integrated Water Resources Management, IWRM, in West Africa, and 2.1.3 the aide-memoirs of the Sub-Regional Technical Expert Committee. 2.2 commends member states, RECs, River Lake Basin organizations for their active participation and contribution to the deliberations during the meetings. 2.3 congratulates the member states nominated to assume leadership responsibilities on the policy organs of AMCAO for 2023-2025.
This is the one you mentioned.
Yes.
Before. So, Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think we must just clear the text. We take note, but then we also adopt.
Yeah, that's what was your comment. So we remove and adopts. These two words, and adopts.
Yes, and on the SADC decisions, we can only endorse them or do something else but adopting them.
Yeah,
It's
we
not
say
our decision.
2.1 should be takes note of the outcomes from the Sub-Regional Technical Experts Committee meetings.
Yes.
Finished. So we remove and adopts.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
Good.
Any other comment on this?
Well,
yes.
sorry, if AMCO, if we are happy with the decisions of the SADC, we can endorse them
We don't know that.
and make them our own, or we can just talk note.
We don't know the details. I think it's better to
Take note.
Take
Yeah,
note, yes.
okay.
Don't know that.
And then-
Agree.
So the last comment is in the last row. I believe the dates are 25 to 27.
Nominated, yes, the upcoming 25 to 27. Yes.
It's a mistake, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us today.
And remove adopt بالمرة.
Okay. Do we agree on the decision number 2 as it stands now? So we removed and adopt and we modified the dates. Okay? Decision adopted.
Okay. Okay. that's الحمد لله فاتنا ورانا كتير. 2.1.2 outcomes from the 5th extraordinary session of the EXCO A, EXCO 5 2024, Cairo 2, on the Africa Regional Consultations, 4, and engagement. There's something wrong here. There's something wrong here. And engagement at the 10th World Water Forum. Proposed decisions, please. The Executive Committee 3.1 takes notes with appreciation the report on Africa's activities on the 10th World Water Forum. 3.2 commends the leadership provided by the Arab Republic of Egypt as AMCAO president and by the member states that contributed to the political dialogue process and high-level sessions, as well as the leadership of the African Union Commission and the African Development Bank to advance the Africa Common Position and influence the outcomes of World Water Forum 10 vis-à-vis achievement of water and sanitation goals in Africa. 3.3 reiterates the appeal for political buy-in from the heads of states and governments of the African Union to promote the development and implementation of integrated policies and strategies to raise the profile of water and sanitation and its cross-sectoral linkages for socio-economic development of the continent. 3.4 acknowledges the tremendous support and invaluable contributions that made possible the success registered by Africa and AMCAO at World Water Forum 10 from 3.4.1, the member states that availed the data used to prepare the knowledge and information materials shared during the events convened. 3.4.2, excellences, the ministers, the leadership of partner institutions under the framework of the African Union partners, coordination platforms, and their representatives, the speakers and the participants whose engagements shaped the outcomes. 3.4.3, the African Union Commission, the African Development Bank, the U.S. State Department through USAID, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, BMGF. 3.5, task the Secretariat to lead Africa's mobilization to realize the priorities agreed during the Africa Regional Consultation process, the thematic and political processes, as well as the commitments of the Africa region as contained in the Forum's Ministerial Declaration and Report. 3.6 urges Member States to prioritize action to include commitments and initiatives in national development planning and translate them into tangible benefits for the people at the lowest level. Can you continue, please? It's finished? Thank you. I submit, sir, Chair.
Any comment? Yes.
Thank you, President. Under 3.5, we tasked the Secretariat to lead Africa's mobilization to realize the priorities agreed during the Africa Regional Consultation process. That is fine, but I'm not so sure whether that leading is altogether the mandate of the Secretariat. So I would suggest that we say that we task the Secretariat to take up in all AMCO's programs the mobilization as agreed to the regional conference, so that they are playing a role, but they are not the only ones. Thank you.
I agree with. Can we edit directly now so that we can finish? We don't have to open the file, so we just need to see the edits directly. Can you dictate what? Is there anyone who is taking care of this? Okay, the colleague who is in, please dictate to so that he can directly edit it.
Instead of to lead, to take up in AMCO's programs.
The feedback first.
Thank you, AMCO President. Through you, just to clarify the reason why maybe this item was put in this particular format where we talked about the Secretariat to lead. Towards the World Water Forum, the organizers had different sub-regions, and in each of the sub-regions, they had appointed specific institutions to help mobilize different member states to attend the World Water Forum. So it is in this particular context that the Africa region had the AMCO, of course, working together with the African Union and the African Development Bank, led the process of mobilizing and led the process of engagement on the continent. And this is the context why we had the Secretary to lead in terms of also the implementation coming out of the World Water Forum. I wanted to clarify that the leadership is based on that particular background of the engagement before the World Water Forum. And as you recall, Your Excellency, the President, under the Africa regional process led by AMCO, we had some high-level sessions that were conducted. We had also special sessions that were conducted, and 8 technical sessions. And in all those, we had different partners from the continent in Africa that we mobilized to contribute to those sessions. And also we had your leadership, Excellency, to help in the discussions and the identification of the priorities and the recommendation for further action on the continent. And coming from the World Water Forum, this was to reflect that role that was played before and during the World Water Forum, and going forward so that we are able to engage different players and stakeholders with the same sort of responsibility. I submit, so Chair, to provide context to this.
Please.
Mr. Chair, I hear and I understand that, but I also believe that mobilization is a multifaceted process done by a number of organizations. We have regional organizations like SADC, like ECOWAS, like North Africa. They are busy with mobilization. We have bilateral talks with partners, development partners. So as sovereigns, we are also busy with mobilization. So I just wanted to avoid any ambiguity that the mobilization as discussed at the forum, yes, where AMCO plays its role, the Secretariat must start to take it up in its programs. But it should not lead what sovereigns do, what regional governments do, or regional organizations do, and so on. And that's why I thought it is better to say they have to take it up in their work programs.
Can you continue, and then we see the formulation, and then we listen to my colleague from South Sudan? Do you have comment on the same point?
No, thank you.
Can we
President.
finish this one? If you don't, if your
3.4.2.
comment is not on 3.5, let us finish this one first,
Okay.
and then we come back to you. So to take up, and then
In AMCO's program. Yes.
in AMCO's work program, Africa's mobilization. Is that fine? Any comment on this? Okay, approved. South Sudan, please.
Thank you, President. The 3.4.2, some minor, maybe we have to agree on the some minor mistakes, maybe excellencies, IES, and then the other point is whether and or there. It should be let in the. It is either and their respective excellencies, the ministers, the leadership of partner institutions.
Through you, help us so that we are clear in terms of where you want
excellencies.
Okay.
And then either we say and or there. There is two words there. They don't come. Some minor errors. Yeah, remove or, remove while.
Yeah. Go ahead. Is that fine?
So just to help our colleagues who are handling this on the IT side, you are saying, Excellency, South Sudan, that 3.4.2, we edited to Excellencies Ministers, or Excellencies, Ministers, but or it's Excellency the Ministers, so they is the word that you want us to take out, right? As we begin the statement. Okay, thank you.
Excellencies, the ministers.
Okay, so is it fine now?
No, he wants to remove the اللي فوق.
Excellencies, ministers.
Please remove the in the, yes, voilà. Remove it, please. Thank you.
Okay, Are we fine with the decision number 3? Approved. 4.
Please, decision number 4, Geneviève. Outcomes from the 5th extraordinary session of the EXCO. B. EO EXCO 5 2024 Cairo 5 on the petition against the Executive Secretary and the roadmap to handling it. The decision, please.
Badly.
The Executive Committee 4.1 notes with appreciation the report of the TAC Chair on AMCAO decisions EO/EXCO/5/2024/Cairo 5 on the petition against the Executive Secretary and the roadmap to handling it. 4.2 directs the TAC to form a committee composed of 1 legal/procurement expert from each sub-region of AMCAO. The name of the experts forming the committee shall be submitted by each vice chair to the TAC chair by 18th October 2024. The committee will be tasked to 4.1 to elect a committee coordinator. 4.2.2 procure the services of consulting/audit firm from the proposed list of firms in line with the adopted request for proposal. 4.2.3 evaluate the technical and financial proposal received and submit the report with recommendations to the TAC chair for approval by TAC. The contract with the successful bidder will be entered into with AMCAO Secretariat. 4.2.4 observe the timelines as set in the terms of reference.
I would recommend to consider the point that His Excellency the Minister of Namibia mentioned, is to add, after identifying a committee coordinator, once the committee is ready, is to add 4.2.2 is to add one extra task to the TUR, which is reviewing the governance in all aspects to make the decision, the significant decisions in the hand of the EXCO and not the Secretariat. For example, and then we open practice and we write, for example, decisions on signing agreements, decisions on. So changing the power to give it to the EXCO. Please.
Mr. Chair, to be clear, I think we have got two issues here. The first issue is the procurement of the service. So we propose to say procure the services of consulting, auditing from the proposed list of firms in line with the adopted terms of reference. So that's the first thing. And then as a second point, we take up the point and say, include in the terms of reference a review of the governance.
TUR editing first before procuring.
Now I say 422. The only amendment I propose is to say, instead of request for proposals, we say with the adopted terms of reference.
And where to give them the instructions to adopt the TUR?
Yeah, so the first issue is we approve the procurement of a consultant. And then we add another decision, 4.3 now, the new 4.3, where we say we task the Secretariat to amend the terms of reference to include a review of the governance structure.
No, we don't want to give this amendment to the Secretariat. We want to give this amendment to the tax.
Okay, the TAC, yeah. Okay, sorry, the TAC. I agree with you.
So, but before the procurement, we should amend the TOR, because the TOR will be the base for the procurement.
Yeah, we
We
say
sign
the,
a contract with the contract to implement the TOR. So the TOR needs to be amended before signing a contract with the consultant.
yeah, well, the one can follow the other. I have no problem.
4.2, the current 4.2 to be 4.3, and to add a new 4.2 is to edit the TOR.
Yeah, to task the TAC to add into the agreed TOR, the review of the governance.
Initiate the TOR again. We are going just to insert an item.
Yeah, that's,
To make it easier for the tax, I would recommend that we formulate exactly the task that they have to do.
Yes.
So the tax just have to meet and insert the decision in the TOR as a new item.
fine.
So I would add here a new 4.2.
Becomes 4.3 as amended, yeah.
لا 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 واحدة جديدة خالص. So please press enter after yes, exactly. So now we formulate the decision we want here is to review the governance from not, or we can add direct the tax to the tax, not to review, let us put to amend the TOR
include.
or to include
In
the
the
following in the TOR, and then we formulate what we
In
want
the
them to
adopted
include
TOR.
in the adopted TOR.
No, it is RFP. Yes, مسمينها
RFP.
No, not to amend, to include.
It's called the RFP, I think.
No, no,
Is it to amend through the chair or to include?
it's adopted. We add something. Yeah. It's not
Mr.
an
President,
RFP, it's a
The
TOR.
President is a TOR because TOR will be extracting, the RFP will be extracted from the terms of reference. So we have to amend the terms of reference to include what we are asking that the new committee to do. So we need to amend first the terms of reference because we have to include the review of the rules and regulations.
The RFP must be TOR.
The TOR first.
So it's not RFP, it's TOR. Can we, because it needs a kind of phrasing. We need to phrase here that we want the decision making related to any significant document or any significant decision in general to go through the tax and the exco. Someone who is legally well informed to help us in formulating it.
Oui, merci. Si je comprends bien, en fait, on a voulu, on a voulu quand même que le cabinet qui sera recruté étudie, fait ajouter un nouvel objectif à son travail. Et donc, par rapport à ça, il y avait eu un TDR qui avait été adopté dans le cadre du travail et du rapport, en tout cas du rapport par rapport à la pétition des membres du secrétariat exécutif. Et donc, si c'est le cas, je pense que, étant donné que c'est le TAC qui avait adopté le TDR, si nous voulons inclure, c'est le TAC qui doit encore étudier ce TDR et le valider afin que, ou inclure le nouvel objectif qu'on veut, afin de le transmettre au comité, puisque ce n'était pas le comité exécutif qui avait validé les termes de référence, c'était le TAC qui avait validé les termes de référence. Donc, ce serait quand même intéressant qu'on assigne ce travail-là au TAC pour pouvoir...
Yeah, but I got your point, but we are the highest level of decision making. And His Excellency had some concerns regarding regarding giving the Secretariat the power to sign an agreement with any international agency that might commit the member countries to something. So you have to get back to the highest body of decision making before signing any agreement and other responsibilities. So what His Excellency the Minister was saying, that we need to approve any agreement before allowing the Secretariat to sign it. So this is a completely new point in the governance that has to be considered. So why we should give it back to the tax? If we are in agreement that this is the most powerful body inside the AMCAO, we tell them to insert this inside the TUR. We are not going to change the TUR. This is an additional mandate for the consultant to carry out. You got the point? Since the consultant is going to review the governance, we are adding one additional mandate to the consultant to implement. It has nothing to do with the investigation. It has nothing to do with the process, but we are making use of having a consultant instead of hiring another consultant to do the job. We are making use of the consultant, because it's going to cost the AMCAO money, is to review the decision-making process and give the power not to the Secretariat, to the tax, and then the EXCO. So we don't need the tax to think about it again. The decision can be taken here to have one sentence to be added to the consultant mandate in the FPR or the TOR. That's the basic idea. So why we want to send it back to the TOR, to the tax, to discuss it and discuss it again, and they might don't understand what happened here, so they start from scratch. It's just one mandate for the consultant. Please.
Mr. Chair, maybe it's helpful when I read our proposal, is now it should read, to direct the TAC to amend the adopted terms of reference to include the review of AMCO's government's framework document, to elevate the approval power of signing agreements to the EXCO.
To elevate
the approval power of signing
the
agreements
approval
to the
power
EXCO.
Of signing any agreement
to the EXCO.
To the EXCO. Is this the only power you want?
What else do we need? I think that's what we wanted to make sure. If the addition is that it should go through the TAC to TAC for recommendation to EXCO for approval.
Through the chair, we should also consider that the TAC has a lot of responsibilities and meet occasionally. They meet more often than we do. So from our discussion, they have engaged more than 5 to 6 development partners, and they have signed agreements with them. And these took, at least from the discussion here, 2 years. So how often do we as the EXCO meet? If we are to delegate to take away that mandate and bring it to this table, can we commit to be meeting that often? And also, will this not slow down the TAC in their implementation of their mandate? So these are pros and cons we need to also discuss.
Can we add this and then we discuss it all together? Signing any agreement, comma. Can we draft this for getting the approval? No, before to the EXCO. Go back to the after agreement, comma. Engaging AMCOW in any initiative, any new initiative. Making, comma, and making any strategic decision to the EXCO. Or taking any strategic decision to the EXCO. How do you see this? Please.
Yes, Comrade President, I believe we are getting there, but the important thing is that the power to EXCO should be in relation to strategic decisions and liabilities binding states, binding sovereigns. That is what we want to do. We do not want to take other decisions away from the TIC, other decision power from the TIC that is ordinary business of AMCO. But those strategic decisions that have a binding nature to sovereigns must be going to the EXCO.
Any comment on the written text from all of your excellencies? Please, Your Excellency. I give you.
Yes, we just discussed that this is to be for the TAC and
It's good.
yeah, just the discussion is just to give this chance for the president and the tax. But I told him that this is we have no that much activities, so that it will be okay. This sentence is okay. This point is okay. We discuss that this is we can split this, or we can give more chance for the president and the head of the tax. But five tax. But I told him that mainly the job is not that the frequency of the job is not that much. So this will be okay to be handled by EXCO, because the frequency is not that much. So that when it will be governed by EXCO, it will be more easy and more.
Since we write to the EXCO, it means that the TAC will have to study it before presenting. So it has to go through the tax.
And give the recommendations.
It has to go through the tax anyway.
Yes, and give the recommendations, and then the EXCO will approve.
Of course. Yes. Yeah. This is the normal
the best option.
Oui, je veux bien comprendre. Hein. Il y a une situation, nous voulons faire des investigations. Et nous voulons profiter de cette investigation pour assigner une nouvelle mission au cabinet qui sera recruté. Mais tel que c'est fait, c'est que nous orientons déjà la décision que le cabinet va nous proposer, telle que, en tout cas, peut-être que je ne comprends pas français, mais la lecture que je fais de la décision, c'est que nous orientons déjà le sens que comment on appelle, le cabinet qui sera sélectionné va proposer. Moi, j'aurais voulu qu'on assigne, qu'on inclue, puisque le cabinet qui sera sélectionné va faire des propositions, qu'on laisse libre choix au regard de la pratique, que le cabinet nous fasse des propositions, et après, quand le rapport sera soumis au TAC, qui va l'analyser, soumettre, proposer maintenant des décisions par rapport aux options qui seront proposées par le cabinet afin que l'orientation soit prise. Mais tel que c'est fait là, c'est que nous orientons déjà la décision que le cabinet va proposer. Et donc, il n'a plus d'autre option à faire que d'aller dans le sens que nous proposons. Or, il serait intéressant, au regard de la pratique, qu'il fasse un benchmarking et nous dise quelles sont les possibilités, quelles sont les mesures qui sont possibles à prendre dans de telles situations, afin que après on analyse au sein du TAC et proposer la décision à prendre à l'ESCO. C'est ce que au regard de ce que je comprends de ce qui est affiché là. Merci.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I think there is a misunderstanding here. The TOR includes what the TAC decided regarding the investigation. So this is going to happen anyway regarding the investigation. We are talking about completely different story. We are talking about the power of the Secretariat that we discovered now that the Secretariat can commit the member countries. So these are two different stories. Investigation is already decided by the tax, and the EXCO found a deficit in another story, which is the power that the Secretariat has to sign an agreement on behalf of the countries, which is very dangerous, and I totally agree with His Excellency. That's why we said, instead of having two consultants with two different costs, then let us add one more mandate to the consultant. So the consultant is going to do the job that the tax provided in the TOR, and we are going to add one more item to the TOR to solve a different problem. It has nothing to do with the investigation. It has something to do that the Secretariat should not be signing any agreement without going back to the EXCO. And I think we don't need the consultant to tell us whether this is needed or not. We decide here, we definitely need that these people sitting around the table to approve any agreement that commit my country or your country or his country. We don't need the consultant to tell us whether this is needed or not. We decide here, yes, I personally second his opinion and say, yes, I cannot let the Secretariat commit my country in any agreement without my approval. That's the point here. So I don't need the consultant, but what you said is completely right when it comes to the petition. The petition, let the consultant decide independently in a fair environment without influencing him. But here, this is a completely different story and has nothing to do with the petition. We are not directing him to get any result. We are just telling him, we have a different problem. Please, consultant, propose how to move the power when it comes to signing agreement or making a strategic decision. I hope it's clear. In the governance structure, because he is going to review the governance structure for two aspects. First, the petition, institutional. Second, the power of signing agreement on behalf of the member states. But we are not instructing the consultant to go through a certain pathway. No. This has nothing to do with the petition. It's just saving money, and instead of hiring two consultants, having two proposals for improving the governance, making use of the process in order to hit two birds with one stone. That's what's meant here. That's why we have a completely different 4.2 and 4.3. We just have two different items. Please.
Yeah, thank you, President. The addition that should appear in the AMCAO governance is the the Secretariat, AMCA Secretariat rules and regulations review. It should also appear within the general organogram, the general governance. So it should appear also. Rules and regulations.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had only two minor observations. I totally support the motion to amend, to bring in this 4.2. But I don't know if it can make a difference instead of using the adopted TOR to the existing TOR. Then the next one, yes, the next one was on 4.3.1. We removed 2 and just start with elect 2, because 2 is already in the preceding sentence. Thank you.
What I just to clarify that this is the forum that gives the authority for the TOR. This is a forum that gives or finalizes the limitation of the TOR. And this in any organization you have that a book called LOA, Limitation of Authority. With this that we put the limitation of the authority, we take it from the tag to the execute. And this is why this has nothing to do with the audit, but this is amendment for the TOR. This amendment for the TOR, that the limitation of authority is taken from the tag to the, or for the governance, or the tag to the execute.
Mr. President, I believe we can solve the problem by leaving the existing and adopted TR in place. The only thing we do, we go to the same consultant and give him another task.
That's what we are doing.
Yes, but when we say we are amending the TOR, we are not leaving it in place. We have agreed on it, and the structures are all there. So we leave that adopted TOR in place. We are just giving an additional task to the consultant to also consider and make a recommendation to TSE. No, it's not the same. But if you say we
maybe it's more expensive to follow your approach, because you're giving him two tasks.
No, it's not. But if you open the agreed TOR, they can amend anything. And I think you don't know consultants. So I think
I don't mind. I mean, it's a decision of Your Excellency's.
I think the point from the Zambian colleague is correct. We
so can you tell me which change you want here? To add to the existing TOR an additional task?
Yeah.
So can we make this modification to add to the existing TOR an additional task for the consultant to review?
Yeah. Then it's very clear that it has nothing to do with...
Do you all agree with the number 4 as it stands now?
To review AMCO's governance.
It's a problem when we draft in these committees. It's all right.
He has one more comment and then we go. Please.
Thank you so much, AMCO President. And through you, I wanted to submit that while we fully recognize the importance of this point, and we thank the distinguished Honorable Minister, we were also thinking that maybe at the end of AMCO framework documents, we could also take into account the processes and practice of similar organizations. I am aware, and we can say that we are the same member states that are also member states, and we are member states of other regional bodies, other continental bodies, and it's just to understand and take into account the practice in terms of how they have addressed this issue. Why also I make this comment is the fact that the EXCO meets once in a year, and in between the years where we have the General Assembly as well. So we had the General Assembly, for example, or as we know it, hosted by the Arab Republic of Egypt last year in June. And the next one would be coming up at the time that is maybe the next president decides to convene the General Assembly, which is 2025. So it's a question of the phrasing. If we lock it up to the EXCO, there are years when the EXCO does not meet of the 15 EXCO members, but we meet as a General Assembly of the Governing Council of AMCO. So it's a question of looking at how do we address that to take into account this issue of the efficiency, at the same time looking at the practice of other similar mandated institutions like AMCO is. And in this case, we can maybe take into consideration, the consultant can take into consideration the practice, for example, in the SADC Secretariat, the practice in SADC, the practice in ECOWAS, the practice in SECAS in Central Africa, just to understand how such similar institutions address this issue. That's what I wanted to just propose.
I will just comment on this and, of course, leave the decision for you. I think we are not speaking about detailed activities. We are speaking about signing agreement. So it's a real significant action. We are speaking about engaging AMCO in a new initiative. We are speaking about strategic decisions. So this is something that does not come every month. We were approving things that were done in 2022. So, and if there is something urgent, we have the extraordinary EXCO. So we don't have to wait to the General Assembly. We can organize an online extraordinary EXCO if there is something to be taken. So that's at least my feedback to this point. But I don't know, Your Excellency, you have comment and you have a comment, please.
Well, I thought that the consultant will have in any case to go to these structures and see how AMCO fits into the larger thing. So we don't have to refer to it in this very instance.
I believe we are the forums are to take decisions. When we say review, that means that we are delaying the decision itself. We are responsible to take the decisions. We take the decision. He says that this is to be governed by the EXCO. And he have enough room to review the past executed work. But this one, from now on, we take the decision today that will be governed by EXCO. We limit the authority, his authority, and that he can get time to revisit or to review the past.
Thank you, Chair. I am agree with the proposal. Just put in order. I think the content of the 4.2 must be included in the 4.3 because the task that we want give to the consultant will be done after we select the consulting. So it is.
No, the task, the job description has to be ready before hiring the consultant. So the job description has to be ready before hiring. So I think it's the position 4.2 is the right position.
Yeah, but the task will be done by the firm.
Yes.
By the firm.
Yes.
Prepare the document.
But I have to have the document before I go
Yes.
to the firm
Yeah.
to put a price and to give me an offer. I have to tell him what are you going to do. So you first prepare the job description and the TOR or RFP, and then you send it to get the quotation, to get the offer.
Okay.
So this
But-
has to be finished first before talking to any consultant.
Okay, but before we must select the firm.
Sorry.
No?
The other way
okay,
around.
Okay.
The other way around.
Okay.
But I have only the issue of time, because here we wrote on the 18th we have the names of the nominees. So we need to do this task within a couple of days, so that we will be ready with the document before going into interrupting the time plan. So if we can just give this, do we need how many days? 2 days, 3 days, 1 week? Within 1 week from the date of this exco. So if we can add by, I don't know, 16th today. By the 22nd of October. So L to add. L هنا to add to the existing TOR additional task. يعني هتتحط في TOR.
لا an additional task غير الTOR. يعني يبقى عنده task أنا شايفة إنها تفضل جواها عادي ما فيش شايفة.
Okay. Do you approve the current version on the screen? Please.
Yeah, Mr. President, I think it is, there is a point that we should be adding. When the elected committee members are elected, then a brief is done to them by the TAC chair and the the four sub-regions, even if it is online, to brief the TAC vice chair, the four vice chairs and the TAC chair, brief the elected committee. It should appear as a part of the decision.
So you are not proposing an edit, it's just an information.
You want to edit?
Sorry, Mr.
After the committee is being elected, a brief is done.
Mr. Chair, my brief that I got from the TAC says that the disciplinary case is handled by the vice chairs and a committee that they agree, not the TAC vice chair or chair. But the second task, that is the change of the document or the government structure, that must go to the TAC. But the disciplinary case not. That goes to the committee that was elected by the vice chairs.
Any comment on the existing text? So we text approved. Next.
Next, please. Geneviève? Outcomes from the 5th session of the Africa Union Water and Sanitation Partner Coordination Platform and the Sanitation in Hygiene PCEP. The Executive Committee notes the organization of the 5th session of the African Union Water and Sanitation Partners Coordination Platform and the Sanitation and Hygiene Partners Coordination and Engagement Platform. Commends the effort of the thematic cluster coordinators and all partners constituting the 8 PCP clusters, as well as the members of the PCEP, to improve coordination and annual preparation of the Africa Water and Sanitation Sector Monitoring WASMO report. Tasked the Secretariat, with support from the African Union Commission, to continue engaging all relevant stakeholders, including governmental bodies, private sector partners, and regional organizations, to ensure comprehensive input and support for the Africa Water Vision and policy beyond 2025. I submit, Chair.
Just for your information, just the team was telling me that the existing governance does not give the Secretariat the right to sign any agreement. But just for your information, what we added is in line what exists, but to be reviewed is not a bad idea. Approved the decision number 5. Next.
Outcomes from the 9th Africa Water Week and situation analysis constituting the baseline for an Africa Water Vision and policy framework for assuring inclusive and climate resilient water security on the continent. The Executive Committee 6.1 notes with appreciation the report on the 9th Africa Water Week. 6.2 acknowledges 6.2.1 the Member States' effort to accelerate the implementation of the July 2008 Assembly Declaration of the Sharm el-Sheikh commitments for accelerating the achievement of the water and sanitation goals in Africa and actualize the Africa Water Vision 2025. 6.2.2, the leadership provided by the Arab Republic of Egypt as AMCAO President to host the 9th Africa Water Week in Cairo, and 6.2.3, the tremendous support and invaluable contributions that made possible that the 9th Africa Water Week a success, in particular from 6.2.3.1, the Member States. What's the Member States?
I think there.
Is something missing here?
It's a language issue.
6.2.3.2, Excellences, the Ministers, the leadership of partner institutions.
Sorry, we need just to edit whatever mistake here. Is this 6.231 is?
No, I think that it is the continuation.
It's a continuation.
It is a continuation. The Member States, Excellences, Ministers.
Okay, good.
Can you correct it, please? Just, yeah.
Just through you, AMCO President, to clarify that here is an effort to 6.2.3 to appreciate the contributions. And in this case, we are noting different groups of the contributions. So starting with the member states, the excellencies, the ministers, the African, so it's part, sub-item of 6.2.3, but appreciating, yes, different contribution and different stakeholders.
Okay, thank you, noted.
Maybe it doesn't need a number, just to be bullet.
Or commas. Excellencies, the ministers, the leadership of partner institutions under the framework of the AU Partners Coordination Platform and/or their representatives, the speakers and the participants whose engagement shaped the outcomes. 6.2.3.3, the African Union Commission, the African Development Bank, the US State Department through USAID, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Team Europe Initiative on Transboundary Water Management in Africa from CWW, from the EU and BMZ through GIZ, and the Global Environment Facility through FAO and IMI. 6.3 reaffirms as priorities within the framework of implementing African Union Executive Council decisions the commitments made at the Global Stage 2. 6.3.1 align the post-2025 Africa Water Vision to the African Union Agenda 2063 and make the principles of valuing water the backbone of the action framework for financing its actualization. 6.3.2 provide assurances to boost investors' confidence and articulate the water and sanitation economy to benefit business and society in Africa. 6.3.3 invest in institutional and human capacity development, focusing on the integrated information systems to support science-based decision-making for climate resilience in the water and sanitation sector. And 6.3.4 to develop and implement strategies and programs to enhance synergies across the water, energy, food nexus. 6.4 adopts the communiqué of the 9th Africa Water Week. 6.5 tasks the Secretariat working with the Commission of the African Union to facilitate utilization of the situation analysis agreed at the 9th Africa Water Week to inform the next steps on the roadmap to formulate the Africa Water Vision and policy beyond 2025. 6.6 reiterates the call to member states to prioritize action to translate the commitments and initiatives into tangible benefits for the people at the lowest level. I submit, Your Excellency.
Any comment? Yes, please.
Thank you, Chair. In point 6.3, just maybe, no, that's fine. 6.6, yes. The lowest level, maybe we have to change lowest level because I think the objective is to talk about the communities. Yeah, but lowest level I think is not sound well.
Could you clarify, please? I didn't get it quite well.
I think Angola is changing instead of making it lowest level, you say at the community level. This is what he wants to change. Instead of saying lowest level, he's changing it to the community level.
Which point? So we modify lowest level to be the community level. Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Can you see it, please? Okay. Any other comment regarding decision number 6?
Through the President, I think we had another statement with the same lowest level. You will work back and change it in another item, not under this item.
Can you go above before 6.32?
Just search lowest level.
Lowest level. You want to change the lowest level? At the lowest level.
3.6. This is adopted already.
Yes. It was somewhere else.
ما نقدرش نغير. نسيبك منه وما نعلقش خلاص نعمله ايه؟ Your Excellency, you had a comment on the communique.
I do agree with the comment from the Angolan delegation.
We modified.
Oh, it's
We
fine.
changed it already.
Yeah. At community level, that's better. Yeah.
We are adopting the communique. Do you have comments?
And yes, I do have.
The declaration.
Yes.
It is here. Your comments are there.
Sorry, Mr. President, I was out. Comrade President, under 12.1 of the communique.
Sorry, which one? 6?
12.1.
12.
12.1.
In the document itself.
Okay.
12.1.
Oh.
Yes, yes, that's true. That's true. Correct.
It now reads, convinced that the water security and reliability in Africa through both natural storages and construction of stakeholders agreed upon control structures. There we propose an amendment to read that it says through both storage of construction and agreed upon controls and agreed upon structure.
You can display it on the screen and we edit directly. So you said 12.1.
12.1.
This is not the right version. Let me check the IT. The one that you displayed is not the right one.
The file that has been communicated to us via email.
Yes, that's right.
So 12.1 is now correct?
No, I think this is not the right version. He's getting the right one.
But the text there is correct. It's what we would suggest.
هي دي صح بس الثانية clean text.
But we wanted to edit the final version. This is not the final version.
This is not the clean text.
The 12.1, it maybe didn't change, but the entire document is not the final version. He is trying to display the final one.
Why is the right document not there?
Name هنا not.
We are using a shared drive, so we just have to pick the right documents.
But this has already before Mr. Nelson.
What's the problem now?
The problem that they are not using any of the final versions. So they have to search for the final version and then upload it.
النبي على دماغه ولا هم دلوقتي اساسا بيموتوا في البوم بسبب القرار ده.
طبعا.
يقطع شرايين وخلاص.
كده مات.
لا خلاص.
Yes,
is
but
the
you said you
I
want to
have-
open it. We were. So please, you have the final version of the communique. Could you please edit 12.1?
Okay, in the version that I have, and I assume that's the final one,
Yes.
it reads under 12.1, convinced that water security and reliability in Africa through both natural storages and construction of stakeholders agreed upon control structures while ensuring the necessary socio-economic environment. That is how it reads now. So we suggest that we delete stakeholders and the word control. So it will now read through both natural resource and construction of agreed upon structures. Structures.
And you remove control.
Yes.
Agreed upon control. Remove control.
Yeah, because the stakeholders agreed upon control.
Yeah. You
Structures refer to the infrastructure that we build.
Okay.
So we say it must be agreed upon which structures we build.
Okay.
And as a qualification then what needs to be agreed upon, we urge that under 12.2.1 we change the words within the provisions of international water law in compliance with international water law.
In accordance.
In accordance with or in compliance with, in compliance with.
Yeah. فين بأنهي حتة؟
Within the provisions.
بعد
Say
له.
Within the provisions of national law. Within the provisions.
It says now within the provisions of international water law. I don't think that that language is accurate. It should be in accordance with or in compliance with international
After resilience, in
compliance with international water law.
Lines or in accordance? In accordance. In accordance.
Well, I think compliance is the better word because that is what these binding instruments say. They say you must comply with them.
In compliance with
international water law. Yeah.
With the international.
Yes. Thank you.
With the international water law. Any other comment on number 6? Decision number 6. Okay. Number 6 approved. 7.
Back to the decisions now.
ما هو رجع اهو خلاص يلا بقى.
Africa Regional Mobilization and Support to the Republic of Senegal as co-convener of the UN 2026 Water Conference. هنقرا the decisions. The Executive Committee 7.1 takes note of the actions taken by the Republic of Senegal to co-chair the United Nations Water Conference of 2026 to speed up the implementation of SDG 6 clean water and drainage. 7.2 recalls the decision of the African Union Executive Council adopting, assuring sustainable water availability and safe sanitation systems to achieve the goals of Agenda 2063 as the 2026 Africa Union theme. 7.3 tasks the Secretariat to work with the Republic of Senegal and the AUC to ensure synergy and vertical alignment in the action plans for both the theme of the Africa Union for 2026 and the UN 2026 Water Conference. 7.4 urges member states, the RECs, and relevant regional institutions to support the Republic of Senegal and to lobby the international community to lend their support to this laudable effort by an African country to co-chair of the UN 2026 conference. I submit, sir, Chair.
Any comment here? Okay, before we approve, I just want to congratulate Senegal for convening and being the co-organizer of the UN Water Conference 2026. But we also give you the task to continue raising the voice of Africa in the water sector. And we trust that you are going to make the voice very loud in the coming conference. And also a round of applause to Senegal. Comment on decision number 7?
Through the President, the last line, country to co-chair of the, to co-chair the.
If there are no any other comment, then 7 is approved. Next.
Hosting of the third African Implementation and Partnership Conference, PANAFCON 3, by the Republic of Zambia. The decision, please. Senegal wants the floor.
Yes, please.
Monsieur le ministre, excusez-moi de revenir un peu en arrière parce que je viens de noter un point sur le 7 et je voulais un peu de clarification parce que j'ai vu ça après l'adoption. C'est notamment le point 7.2. 7.2 recalls the decision of the African Union Executive Council adopting, ensuring sustainable water availability and safe sanitation system and achieve, etc. Je voulais savoir quel est le lien avec la décision générale concernant le Sénégal, puisque cette décision porte plus sur la conférence 2026 pour le Sénégal et je vous remercie pour le soutien qui est apporté au Sénégal. Mais le 7.2 ici, je ne comprends pas le lien avec ce qui a été fait. Si on peut m'apporter quelques clarifications là-dessus. Quel est le rationnel?
So, Chair the floor to reply to this point.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Merci, Votre Excellence. En réalité, c'était pour faire le lien entre le sommet africain et la conférence de 2026 pour qu'il y ait un lien entre les deux événements et une harmonisation dans les futurs travaux, que ce soit en harmonie ensemble. C'est pour cela que ça a été fait. Merci. I submit, Chair.
Happy? Okay, good. Next.
The Executive Committee, 8.1, appreciates and accepts the government and people of the Republic of Zambia for committing to host the 3rd edition of the African Implementation and Partnership Conference, PANAFCON 3. Can you give me the right-hand side, please? Thank you. 8.2, tasks the Secretariat to facilitate consultations with TAC to finalize the theme of PANAFCON 3. 8.3, further tasks the Secretariat to mobilize resources and engage the development partners and stakeholders to organizing a successful PANAFCON 3. 8.4, urges members of the Council to mobilize their peers in charge of finance, environment, and related affairs to honor the invitation of the Republic of Zambia and participate during the PANAFCON 3 to be held from the 27th to 29th of May 2025 in Lusaka, Republic of Zambia. 8.5, requests the Honorable Minister for Water Development and Sanitation of the Republic of Zambia to convene a ministerial session during the conference to consider the outcomes of PANAFCON 3. 8.6, invites member states, the African Development Bank, the Office of the UN Special Advisor on Africa, United Nations Economics, Commission for Africa, AMCO's development, technical, coordinated, and implementing partners, and the private sector to actively support the preparation of the conference and the eventual action on its outcomes. 8.7, calls for broad participation and the involvement of all stakeholders to actively participate during PANAFCON 3 to review the initial draft of the post-2025 water vision and policy framework for assuring inclusive and climate-resilient water security on the continent. 8.8, further tasks the Secretariat to communicate well in advance all new and ongoing initiatives, activities, and events to member states. I submit, Chair.
Comments? Please.
Thank you, Mr. President, and Your Excellencies. Representing the Minister, just wanted to affirm Zambia's position to host this. And as reflected, this is correct, and it will be conveyed again to the Minister that we should apply ourselves to the decisions of the EXCO. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
We also thank Zambia very much for hosting this and the effort and the willingness that you are willing to do that, and we also a round of applause to Zambia. Any comment on decision number 8? I personally could have loved to see a description of the process, how we are going to reach the post-2025 Africa Water Vision, but I'm sure the tax have more information about the process. But I feel that the process has to be well described, how we are going to reach such an important document, and at which stage we will have the opportunity to interfere and review and give our feedbacks. I don't know whether the tax they have comment or the tax chair have comment on this issue, because this is another important document.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. So far, we didn't receive any draft or concrete roadmap. We have seen some presentations, but till now, although there is how to say, an insistence from our side as TEC members to expedite the process, but until now we didn't have any concrete roadmap and document to review and to emphasize and to put in a better position. Thank you.
Isn't
I submit, Chair.
the task of the tax that can set such a roadmap? I mean, if we want to no, yeah, but if we want to elevate the power, then I think that the tax, they could have drafted the roadmap or thought of the roadmap on how to proceed with this. Otherwise, if we will leave it to the Secretariat, we go back to again giving the Secretariat a role for such an important document. This is, we are speaking about the the vision after 2025. Your Excellency.
Mr. President, maybe we can agree to add a paragraph that tasks the TAC to provide to us a roadmap by the next Exco.
Yeah, but the next Exco might be too late.
Well, then we organize an extraordinary Exco. Exactly. But it must be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Excellency AMCO President. Just to add probably information in terms of the process. As we all know, the current Africa Water Vision 2025 was developed by the African Union Commission, the African Development Bank, and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa at the beginning of the new millennium. So to some extent, we can say that the leadership to some extent on the development of the post-2025 Africa Water Vision, and there is a decision from the Executive Council of the Foreign Ministers to also have the Africa Water Policy. So in this process, we can say the African Union is leading because of that mandate, but as AMCAO, we are working towards making sure that the outcomes from the Bali, also the outcomes from the Cairo Water Week, from the Africa Water Week, feed into that process. And we have insisted in some of the discussions with the African Union to ensure that there is adequate consultation with member states. And this is in line with the decision that was taken at the STC when the Governing Council requested or appealed to the Assembly of the Heads of State to have 2026 designated as the year for water and sanitation under the themes of the African Union. Now, in terms of the process, as we understand it from the African Union, there is a proposal to have a consultation at the beginning of December with member states. And then at that particular moment, we are hoping that there could be some thematic proposals. And these thematic proposals that could be developed after the consultation with member states, we have proposed to the African Union to ensure that they are submitted for consultation through the sub-regional meetings that AMCAO convenes through the vice chairs. So in each of the sub-region, where we have the member states come together, we can subject the thematic proposals to some further review. And then what comes out of that particular process gets to feed into the Pan-African as the main input for further engagement and for further review by the stakeholders. And what comes out of that process of the Pan-African would be the drafts Africa, post-2025 Africa Water Vision and the Africa Water Policy, as well as maybe proposals for the implementation plan, which would have to be, again, considered for review and adoption at the Governing Council level in the course of 2025, when we have probably let's say the incoming AMCO president convene the General Assembly. So that's what we understand, and that's what I have insisted in our engagement with the African Union. We have also been working jointly with the African Commission through the Sustainable Environment and Blue Economy to make sure that we have regular discussions. And we are working in such a way that we ensure that we use our organs and processes to feed into the process of developing and agreeing on the priorities and recommendations for the post-2025 Africa division and the policy framework. We can invite the African Union probably to share the detailed roadmap that has been developed in this particular process. But we believe also that when we have our sub-regional meeting as AMCA, when we present the thematic proposals, we can have adequate time to review and make some recommendations for consideration. I submit for your consideration, Anchor President.
Please.
Honourable President, I'm getting a little nervous when we abdicate our responsibility as AMCO, responsible for water affairs, to other organs in AU. Why don't we remain proactive and we proceed with a task and develop a roadmap and submit it to the Commission instead of waiting for the Commission's roadmap to be brought to us and then we discuss it. I think it's better if we are proactive and task the TAC to prepare that document before February then, that we have a look at it, and then we can submit it to the Commission for comments rather than waiting for their proposal. Thank you.
No, I totally agree with His Excellency, and I think I have sent a letter to the Secretariat requesting to accelerate the process, because it doesn't make sense that we develop the vision post-2025 after 2025. It has to be, actually it could have been now discussing draft of the vision 2025 so that we will be very ready. And I would say the Africa vision is the responsibility of the African Union. But when it comes to the water vision, it is the responsibility of the AMCO. I don't know whether you agree with me on this. I mean, we are the organ, we are the most important organization that should decide what is the Africa vision, Africa water vision. So I would agree that we should be proactive and assign the task to the tax to have a process, to start a process or to initiate a process, to develop a roadmap with a concrete time plan, because time is really limited. And then with clear consultation process. Yes, you organize some events, you organize, but that's not a roadmap. That's just who decided about the stakeholders to be consulted? Who decided about the steps to review this document? So we need to have the tax decide the roadmap, and then we organize an extraordinary exco, maybe, I don't know, by January or to see the roadmap and to make a decision about it. But the roadmap has to be with a clear action plan, because the time is very limited, even if it's not in our term. And then during the presidency of Senegal, then it should be limited to 6 months or so. This roadmap should have a kind of action plan. Actually, it's more than roadmap, because roadmap is too late. I would say action plan within 6 months to have an idea about what should come in this water vision document. I don't know whether this is, please go ahead.
Thank you, Excellency AMCO President. We understand especially the point raised on the urgency, but wanted to also articulate probably an additional point that there is a roadmap that has been already developed, and we have contributed some key areas based on the roadmap that was adopted during the General Assembly last year, which was part of the 2022 WASMO report. And that roadmap was also presented through the Specialized Technical Committee that was held last year in November at the African Union. And it was adopted together with the WASMO report. And on the basis of the presentation of the WASMO report, the STC made recommendations under the African Union for implementation by the African Union Commission. And during the Executive Council of the Foreign Affairs, who advised the Assembly of the Heads of State at the beginning of the year in February, they adopted these decisions, including our proposal, or rather I shouldn't say proposal, but AMCO's proposal through the General Assembly to designate 2026 as the year on water and sanitation as the theme of the African Union. And in this particular roadmap that is contained in the WASMO report that was presented to the STC, the idea was that the General Assembly of AMCO, that happens probably in the, let's say in the third quarter, reviews and adopts the draft post-2025 Africa vision and policy. The idea was to have the post-2025 Africa policy and the policy framework as one document. That's the proposal from the African Union based on the recommendations that were coming from the STC after the review of the proposals. So it is on this basis that the engagement with the African Union is yielding a process which would ensure that we have the draft elements of the post-2025 Africa vision discussed at the Pan-African 3 as proposed and to be hosted by Zambia. And that document as an outcome of Pan-African 3 is what would have to be considered as a draft that fits into the Governing Council's the Governing Council Assembly of 2025, with the view of launching that agreed post-2025 Africa vision and policy in February during the summit of the heads of state when they designate 2026 as the year on water and sanitation at the African Union. So that's, Excellency, the process, but we can, as I mentioned probably, share the detailed action plan with the stages of the consultations and what has been included to facilitate the sub-regional consultations. And our proposal to the African Union is that AMCO convenes sub-regional consultation in each of the 5 sub-regions in the first quarter of 2025. Excellency AMCO President, that's what I can share, but probably we can task the Secretariat to engage the African Union and share the roadmap for the development of the post-2025 Africa Water Vision and water policy. I submit, Excellency.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate the report back. But my concern is whatever has been developed, we haven't seen it. So we are abdicating. We are not doing our job. Someone else is doing it. What we should do, we are the experts. We have the experts to develop that vision and mission and policy. And we haven't seen it. So I'm worried if we follow that kind of procedure where the Commission and the foreign ministers decide what the importance is of the water strategies and the water mission that we think. I think it must come from here. And we submit it there that they can then scrutinize it. But to wait for them, and we are now in a fix, we have a document already developed. We don't know what is in it. We are only able to take that document into the regions and discuss it. I think it's the wrong approach.
Through the chair, I think we are under AUC, and we are a team that should advise AUC on matters water, because this is where we have teams that actually understand the challenges of water, not to wait for AUC to give us directions on matters water. We are supposed to advise them on where we are headed to, the paths that we are taking to solve our water problems in Africa, not the other way around. I think that is what's supposed to make sense. Otherwise, we are just not doing our job properly.
Irrelevant.
Yeah, Mr. President, I think it is, as mentioned earlier, it is to task the TAC to develop and expedite the finalization of the agenda, because you have already suggested, Honorable Carl has suggested, now the third minister. I think it is just to take action, the TAC to take action based on the directive from the ESCO, to take it up.
Yeah.
It gets adopted by the STC of next year for submission to the heads of
Yeah.
state.
So what I'm discussing with my colleague Nelson is at which point this drafted document from the consultation of the sub-regions and the conference, etc., will go through the tax or through the EXCO. We should have a point at which this document should come through the tax. Otherwise, we will have messages coming from different regions, and the AU will be hiring consultant to draft this document, and we will not see it, and we will not at least review it. Even what we were discussing, this BANAFCON will be a session for ministers. It's not a council that they make a decision. It's a session. Then you go to a conference as a minister, somebody is a rapporteur, is taking notes, and you say your opinion and you go. You don't know whether it's adopted or not. So I would recommend that at this point, when you have the first draft, then it has to be presented to the tax to make their comments, and then it goes through the General Assembly for approval. I don't know whether this is in line with the procedure of the AU or not.
Yes.
Do you agree on this proposal?
Yes.
That this first version or the first draft should go to the tax to review and to harmonize the messages coming from different regions or different stakeholders or whatever consultant who formulated it, so that they can review the document and then bring it to the General Assembly to be approved?
Yeah.
Yes.
Through you, AMCO, President, just to also add maybe one detail that I should have added, to say that the African Union, in the process of developing the post-2025 Africa Division and policy, have reflected to have a similar process like we had at the time of developing the post-MDGs, which led us to have the SDGs 2030. And in that process, the Secretary General of the United Nations had appointed a high-level panel of eminent persons. So the African Union is also considering to hire, or rather to appoint or nominate, but to appoint a reference group that would be helping with the process of the consultations with the different stakeholders as well as member states. Now, the point that you have highlighted, AMCO President, it is already included in the roadmap that the draft post-2025 Africa vision, together with the policy, would be presented for the consideration of the General Assembly, and decisions will be made to adopt it for further submission through the Specialized Technical Committee of the Agriculture, Rural Economy within the African Union for further launch, or let's say adoption at the heads of state level during their summit of February 2026 for the launch. But where AMCO has, let's say, an opportunity is where the General Assembly meets and the TAC, which meets before the General Assembly, would consider and look at this document for the endorsement of for the recommendation for endorsement of the General Assembly of AMCO before it goes further to the other stages within the African Union. So definitely there is an arrangement and a provision for the AMCO through the General Assembly to have that final review before it goes other stages for launch within the African Union Commission.
I don't remember this roadmap, and I don't have it even in my mind, and I'm not sure whether anyone in the room is aware of the steps of this roadmap. So that's why I would propose a little bit general point here to make sure, tasks the TAC to make sure that the first draft of the Water Vision 2025 is reviewed and agreed from the tax and presented to the General Assembly. At which stage whatsoever? Because I don't know, you said it exists in the roadmap and we will leave it open, whatever the stage is. But the first draft has to go through the tax and the EXCO. That's the...
Mr. President, I think it's now worse because we were completely excluded. The Commission is appointing already, or a consultant, and the terms of reference are done. So, and we have no clue what is in there, and we had no input. So why does MCOW exist? I think we were fast asleep. We really should have done something before, instead of just inform the EXCO here that all the decisions has been taken. So I'm really worried.
I didn't want to bring more complexity to the topic of the investigation, but we have wrote some letters regarding this issue as a president, because in the process of submitting the consultation document to the World Water Forum, I was struggling to see it before being submitted. That's why I seconded your point that the power has to stay in this room in every single step. And if there's violation to this, because my colleague was telling me that the Secretariat has no right to sign an agreement. So why this is happening? But I don't want to sound complicating the issues. But honestly, after 2 years in the AMCOW, or almost 2 years, I tell you, it's a Secretariat-driven organization and it's not ministers-driven organization. This has to be changed. If we want to change, this has to be changed. And we have to stop at every single step and say it has to go through the tax, it has to go through the ministers, because at the end we are responsible. It's called African Ministers' Council, and it's not African Secretariats' Council. But I didn't want to raise it because I want to stay neutral somehow, but I can't anymore. I have written several letters to expedite the process, we want to finish this, we want to see this document. So we need to make a stop at every single point and make sure that these documents and these steps are going through the AMCOW tax, then to the EXCO to be approved. Otherwise, we're just flowing with the flow. Please.
Thank you, Excellency. We fully hear the sentiments and also the points raised. But I wanted to just also add maybe one detail, and this is to say that as the Secretariat, together with the African Union Commission, based on the decisions of the Executive Council, there is also a process that we can say we convened as part of this process the Partners Coordination Platform, which was graciously hosted by the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And this is the place, or this is the moment where the TORs and the process of developing the post-2025 Africa Water Vision and the policy was presented and discussed. And as a Secretariat, we made efforts to ensure that there is participation from the member states through the vice chairs. And luckily, we had also the participation of the Arab Republic of Egypt. And in that particular meeting, during the Partners Coordination Platform, there was presentations from the team of the African Union on the process with a view that we also contribute in terms of the proposals on the process. But I wanted to add to say, based on this point, Excellency, that we would work with our colleagues at the African Commission to share the full roadmap and the process, where it also highlights the spaces and moments of AMCAO's input into the process of developing the post-2025 Africa Water Vision, which has been already integrated, as we mentioned earlier on, Excellency. But this point that you have proposed for a decision to be taken, it's also something that helps in terms of ensuring that there is input from the AMCAO.
Do we agree on the 8.9 as it is, or any edits from your side? Do we task the TAC or we task the Secretariat? I think the Secretariat. Yes, to go through the TSE. But it's not the responsibility of the TAC to catch the document somehow.
Mr. President, my understanding is that the TIC is what the name says. It's the Technical Advisory Committee. It cannot agree. It advises. Whom does it advise?
And recommend.
The Ministers' Council.
Yeah.
So they must then advise us, and we then say, okay, go ahead and submit it.
Yeah. Reviews and advise. Reviews and advise.
Yeah.
Reviews the first draft and advise and provide advice to the General Assembly, I think. And provide advice to the General Assembly before adoption.
For adoption, yeah.
We agree on this?
Yes. I assume we talk about the AMCO General Assembly.
Yes, of course, or the expo.
Yeah, so put AMCO General Assembly, because the AU had also a General Assembly.
Yeah, thank you, President. I think I just wanted to get it clearer when we say Africa Water Vision, and is it a policy guideline? Because when we say water policy for the whole of Africa, we are putting guidelines, because it is like the way we did for sanitation. We don't say it is a policy for Africa on sanitation. We say the policy guideline on sanitation. The same, it will be a policy guideline on water, because each country has its own, but this becomes like a guideline. That is my thinking.
Through you, AMCO President, just to clarify that at this stage, the choice of words, especially in policy, is because there is a decision of the Executive Council, as we reported earlier, that they took some decisions, including the formulation of the water policy, Africa water policy. So we have been discussing with the African that this has to be one document with the Africa water vision and the policy, with which will have also implementation plans, and the guidelines is not necessarily maybe at this stage, in the sense that the policy might identify the need to have maybe guidelines formulated and all that in the implementation, but it's a post-2025 Africa water vision and policy. That is how also the African Union has looked at it in terms of the decisions of the Executive Council. So for consistency, it's better to keep it as it is. And there will definitely be an opportunity at that time to maybe interrogate it further, whether there should be maybe adjustments in terms of the title of the document.
Okay, just to put the deadline for that, the deadline.
I can't put a deadline because I don't know the roadmap, and I don't think there is a deadline for. Is there any deadline? The first draft is not there, and you don't know when it's going to be ready.
Yes, so this it means that we are working towards having the General Assembly of AMCO as the moment for the consideration of the proposed Africa Water Vision, the proposed for 2025 Africa Water Vision and policy. And that serves as, I think, the moment in terms of the time frame. But it's an ongoing process for us also to ensure as the Secretariat that there is engagement of the member states in this particular process, as I mentioned earlier on.
Is the policy owned also by the AMCO? I mean, if we are talking, we are the organ of water in the EU. What about the policy? Is it a water policy and owned by the AMCO?
Yes, it's like in this case.
I just don't want to put terminology to complex the issue. If we are not responsible for the policy, then we don't have to review. But if we are responsible for it, then we are the one to mandate it to do that task.
Thank you, AMCO President. Through you is just to confirm that this is going to be one document as with a vision that is aligning to the to the Agenda 2063 of the African Union and the water policy. And it allows us, in this particular case, in the process, for AMCO to own the document and then recommend for its launch, or let's say adoption at the heads of state level during their summit of February 2026.
Okay, the issue of before adoption, are we going to adopt this version?
Yes, there will be recommendations for adoption, and then there will be decisions.
Ye-
Yes, so once the General Assembly is satisfied with the document, it will be AMCAO adopting it and making recommendations for its launch within the processes of the African Union. And in this case, we are targeting to have the document launched during the summit of the heads of state as they meet in February. But AMCAO, as we know it, is like a specialized technical committee for the agriculture and rural economy. So what we are doing in this particular case is we indeed originate in a way this document by way of adoption during the General Assembly and recommend for its consideration and presentation through the STC, which is also a ministerial committee under the African Union Commission. And that committee would only take into account what has been agreed already by the AMCAO and present it for consideration at the heads of state level during their summit in February.
Then in my opinion, then we remove the first draft. Because this is confirming that there will be a second and third. So after we adopt it, they might change radically.
We can say the draft.
So we say the draft,
Yes,
and then when we
draft.
adopt it, it's almost final.
We adopt it
Through the chair.
as our document. Let them do with it whatever they want.
But maybe remove the first and say the draft only.
Mr. President, it is our document. We adopt it and we submit it. Now, if there is another institution that can amend it, they can do that. But we I think, should put finality to it and say, well, this is our proposal.
Yes, but that's why I removed first.
Yeah.
For us, this is our final. That's why there is no second draft. And say there is a draft, we review, we edit, we adopt, and that's it from our side.
Yeah.
Please.
Mr. President, from the explanation you've gotten, it means we have a deadline. As His Excellency was asking, considering this thing will be adopted by heads of state in February next year, right? 2026. 2026.
Yes, 2026.
Clearly, we have a deadline. So we also need to have a deadline on when to finalize our in-house discussions so that by 2026 February, when AUC meet, we are clear and through.
We would propose, Excellency, for consideration that we seek the indulgence of maybe the incoming president of AMCAO to convene the General Assembly in the first part of the third quarter, which is between July, August, and September, to ensure that there is consideration of the draft for submission to the STC, and usually the STC of the African Union holds in October. And there is still also an expectation that member states have to submit items for the consideration of the heads of state summit by sometime in October. So it means that the General Assembly would have to seek the indulgence of the incoming chair to convene it in the first part of the third quarter of 2025.
So we say the third quarter.
Yes, the third quarter, that's better.
Mr. President, I don't think we have to wait for the indulgence of the incoming chair. We can say the General Assembly must meet before the SDG meets next year. And then we have a deadline.
So in the first half of 2025.
Yeah. Not the third quarter, the first half.
Excellency, thank you for these reflections and also considerations. We really appreciate as well, at least from the Secretariat side. But just wanted to, just to articulate that the AMCO General Assembly would have to be better held in the Q3 or in Q3, so that we can just say ahead of time before the STC for the adoption of the draft. So we can add that particular additional comment. Yes, I think that's better.
I don't know, we can say, and this process is to be ended before the ETC?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Can you start another sentence? You enter as 8.10?
No, in the same.
Oh, in the same?
The same.
Okay,
Just
in the same.
new sentence.
Okay, new sentence. Okay. So it has to be new sentence?
The adoption is not from the STC.
For presentation
Yeah.
to
For
STC
adoption-
and stop.
For adoption before the submission. to the
Yes.
STC. Before
After
for
assembly,
adoption. Yes,
yeah, for adoption.
before the presentation.
Before presentation to the STC. Okay, good. And you remove 810. Agreement on the decision number 8
Submission after the presentation.
before submission to the STC.
Yeah, in good time to submit to the STC meeting in 2025.
In 2025. Submission to the STC in 2025. Not 2030. Any other comment? So decision number 8 is approved. Yes, I just want to give you a break because
Thank you, Chair. The President, normally we present the TAC present to the ESCO before it goes to the General Assembly. So why are we jumping immediately to the General Assembly?
Okay. So you want to add to the EXCO?
This body is the one prepares the ground for the General Assembly.
Implicit, everything that goes to General Assembly must be, must have expo. Yeah, so. But the point is correct, there must be an expo meeting.
South Sudan. It goes without saying, if we go to the General Assembly, we have to go through the EXCO.
You said it explicit, but it is important to put this is a process that has to pass by the EXCO.
EXCO, then the General Assembly. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Any other comment? Decision 8 approved. Are we happy with this formulation? ماشي.
Before remove بعد أيوة بس لا شيء submission.
Fine, happy with this. 8, decision 8 is adopted. We have 10 minutes break, and you can grab coffee or something to eat from the back here, and then we come back 5 minutes past 8 with another motivation to finish as soon as possible. Thank you.